Tonight, a news story will be written on Redmen Field. Hello again, everybody. I'm Barry Landers, along with Beasley Reese on a rainy evening here at St. John's University. Beasley, last year these teams combined for almost 1,000 yards total offense, but this year the defense for both clubs has been the story. Probably hard to come by that 1,000 yards tonight.
Well, we probably won't see anything like that. I mean, it's raining outside, two very powerful defensive teams. We could see some low numbers here tonight.
Let's talk about the Kings Point Merchant Marine Academy. We saw them in their opening ball game lose to Coast Guard. They've come on very strong, shutouts the last two games, and the defense has really been a big story.
It really has, outscoring their opponents 71-0 in the last two contests, and the pass defense has been excellent, yielding only 60 yards. So, and that'll be very key because the Redmen have a very balanced attack.
Also, St. John's likes to run the football. They've only given up 110 yards rushing defense, and that'll be a key tonight if they can stop St. John's.
Very true. They've got the fine running back in Anthony Russo. They'll have to stop him tonight.
Let's talk about the quarterback for the Kings Point Merchant Marine Academy. Last time we saw them play, it was Larry Redmen. They've switched to Chris Clark, and what a job he's done the last couple of games.
Well, he didn't start the first game, but he has certainly come on strong. 7 touchdowns in the last 2 games.
As far as the Redmen are concerned, their defense has been awesome. They bent a little bit last week, but didn't break against Pace.
Well, you got to throw some stats up when you talk about the Redmen. 22 sacks already this season, 13 interceptions, and when you can do that, that will lead to an undefeated season.
Their pass defense will have to be tough against the run and shoot. Offensively, of course, they've got a guy who has been lighting it up on the ground, Anthony Russo.
Well, lighting it up to the tune of over 450 yards in the last 2 games. 230-plus last week, 2 weeks ago, 216. A very talented guy, all conference the last 4 weeks in a row.
Should be an exciting contest despite the weather. We'll be back with more football in just a moment. Let's go down to the field right now and check in with sideline reporter Carl Reuter.
All right, Barry, thanks very much. Walking around the field moments ago, it seems like it was wet from the heavy rains that we have had since about 5 o'clock this evening. But in talking to Coach Dennis Barrett, he said the traction is excellent at this point. But it's a funny thing. A few years ago, weather conditions like this might have favored the Kings Point team. Well, this year it might work in reverse because this year they're the run-and-shoot club, as you and Beasley mentioned in the open, whereas in years gone by, St. John's was that passing team. That might have hurt them, but now they are a more balanced offense, and it could work in their favor. One last thing, Dennis Barrett very concerned about his team because they had the week off for tests. Now, in the years gone by, they have not reacted too well coming back from midterms, playing that game. They had 8 days off, then they had 3 very intense days of workouts. He doesn't know how they're going to react in the early going. That could be a key. Barry.
All right, Carl, this is the 6th meeting between these clubs. The series began back in 1985, first year of the Liberty Conference. Kings Point won the first 3, the Redmen the last 2. And I think, Beasley, that this Kings Point club wants this game very badly. They felt that St. John's perhaps ran it up last year when they scored 65 points against them.
Well, they had the game seemingly in hand in the last few minutes and kept the first string in, kept throwing the ball, kept trying to put more points on the board, and this team has used that as a rallying cry for this contest, and I'm sure that they've been talking about it all week long. Remember what they did to us last year.
Kings Point will be kicking off, going from left to right. You see the deep men over there. Broadway is number 49, and Amalfitano is also back there, standing at around the 10-yard line. So we're just seconds away from getting this one started, as kicking off is Rob Enright. And we're underway. Enright's kick coming down. It'll be taken by Amalfitano at the 10-yard line. 15, and he runs into a couple of shirts there that knock him down up and around the 20-yard line. Joe Goodwin, number 48, on the tackle, along with Steve Brody and Paul Gualdoni. It'll be 1st and 10 for the St. John's Redmen, as the offense headed by quarterback Sean Bannon, and the rest of the fine offense look for Jeff Long to catch quite a few passes. Anthony Russo, the big guy running out of the backfield. And the offensive line, which one big change. Anthony Capek, their Liberty Conference all-star tackle, broke a bone in his foot, replaced by a freshman, Young Lee. We'll keep an eye on that as St. John starts with Broadway getting the handoff, and Broadway, or check it, Mike Robinson getting the handoff, and he is stopped at the line of scrimmage. There's a look at Sean Bannon's numbers, coming off an excellent game last week, Beasley, his best game of the year.
Well, Sean really put on a show last week, a couple of touchdowns. He's coming into this game with a lot lot of confidence and expects to do well, and we'll see what he can do with this bad field position that he's starting with right now.
Loss of 3 on that last play, 2nd and 13. Out of the I formation, fake to Russo. Bannon rolling left on the bootleg, throwing downfield. O'Grady had it in his hands, could not hang on, up and around the 27-yard line. Mark Brocker defending on the play, the linebacker number 45. As we take a look at that very tough defense, it's a 50 front that has been doing a great job, and especially the linebackers, McErleen, Brocker, Kirby, and Ullman, and the secondary doing an excellent job as well, led by Harold Krebs, who has 3 interceptions, the all-conference player. So now on 3rd and 13, Tom Lenahan is in the ball game as a wide receiver. Anthony Idivo is out. Long lines up at the bottom of your picture, wide to the left. Out of the I, they work it, and the fake, the handoff going inside, and Mike Robinson, check it, Russo getting very short yardage on the play as he stopped at around the line of scrimmage. So a good defensive stand by the Mariners, stopping Bob Ricka's club on their first series here.
Probably a good decision there. They obviously decided to just play it safe, kick this ball away, and regroup. You would think that they'd try to throw something, but an interception would be devastating at that point.
All right, as they kick it upfield, the Mariners are trying to return it right here, and with the return, number 21 is Andy Quinn, brought down by Rich Colangelo, but excellent field position right now for the Mariners. We didn't talk about it, but the kicking game could be very important in this game. Kings Point has an excellent kicking game. St. John's a suspect one.
St. John's really worried about finding a kicker. Now, there's no telling who they're going to put out there tonight to kick the ball.
Let's take a look at the starting offense. Wes Stearns is the dandy at the single running back spot. It's the run and shoot, 4 wide receivers. Leading receiver's been Mark Del Soto. And the offensive line has been doing an excellent job, especially the last 2 games when they've run off 71 points. Chris Clark barking out signals, 1st and 10 at the 36-yard line. Clark with time, throwing, and it is complete to Brett down the right sideline, and he is out of bounds. Taken down, David Daly with the catch. So David Daly, number 89, 5'10", 165-pound junior with his 3rd catch. And here's a look at Chris Clark. And his numbers have improved dramatically this year. 8 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Interceptions have been the bugaboo in this young man's career over the last couple of years.
He's got some numbers when it comes to interceptions that would scare anybody. 42 career interceptions, 17 last year. So that's something that he's certainly been working on and has done much better this year, keeping the ball in safer places.
Out of the run and shoot, they operate on 1st down. Looking to throw again. Quick sideline pattern in and out of the hands of Ricky Gill. Jamie Borg, the left cornerback, was defending.
Well, they've established right now that they are not going to deviate from their normal game plan. They're coming out passing the ball.
Redmen defense, 3-man front. Pawlowski and Cunningham are real good ones. Good freshmen at Lambright. The strength of the team in the linebacking core, excellent 4 linebackers, as Volpe is in the lineup again tonight. And the secondary a little banged up, and that could be the area that St. John's will be picking on, or have been picked on by the Mariners because of the run and shoot. Rick Gill going in motion on 2nd and 10. Stearns trying to break loose, but he is taken down by Vince O'Grady, one of the leading tacklers on this team, playing 2 ways tonight. You don't see that happen often in college football these days.
You know, you really don't. For Stearns, this is a great opportunity to show people how he can match up with Russo.
Dennis Barrett on the sideline, looking for win number 44. He's only a couple of wins shy of being the all-time winningest coach at Kings Point. George Paterno, brother of the other Paterno, Mr. Joe Paterno, is the leading winner. 3rd and 8. Out of the run and shoot. Daly going in motion and a whistle. Let's see, too much time here. Yes, the clock has expired. Delay of game. Referee Lou Nazaro making the call. His crew. And the rest of his fine crew.
Dead ball foul. Delay of game on the offense.
So it'll be 3rd and 13 here.
Still 2nd down.
As the ball moved back to the 27-yard line. What kind of pass do you look for here?
Well, it's going gets really tough when you get down in what we call this red area. As you can see by the defensive alignment, they really pack it in. They don't have the offense doesn't have that much room to work with.
Clark rolling left under pressure, will screen it out to Stearns. He's got some blockers there. Stearns still on his feet, shy of the first down at around the 17-yard line, setting up a potential field goal situation as Clark limping a little bit. They set the screen up nicely. They drew the 3 defenders in on him, screened it off to Stearns, but it appears okay as he heads to the sideline. And Enright will come into the ball game to attempt a field goal. He's 1 for 3 in field goals, kicked a 40-yarder. This one will come from the 24. It'll be about a 34-yard field goal attempt. Ketterer is holding. Ball fumbled, and Ketterer, former quarterback, rolling left. He's in trouble, looking to throw, and throws it incomplete, and St. John's will take over 1st and 10.
Now, they obviously haven't worked on a very important part of the kicking game when it comes to field goal. There is a color that is normally yelled out in that situation, and normally the handler will yell out red or orange or whatever the emergency color is. At that point, the up back and the tight end go into a pattern. He has nobody to throw here here, and it's obvious that that is not in their offensive scheme.
All right, Redmen with their first big defensive stand take over 1st and 10. Ball at the 17-yard line. Here's the pitch to Russo. Russo trying to turn it upfield. Won't get much. That swarming defense, which has stopped rushing teams, holding them just 110 yards all over the ball carrier. Russo right there. Ed Mackerline along with Rob Sasso coming up from the secondary with the hit.
It doesn't get any prettier than that. Kings Point has made a reputation of that swarming defense. They will hit you. They are small in stature and in weight, but they are an attacking defense. It'll be fun to watch.
Chuck Broadway in the ball game right now. As Robinson leaves, Broadway is the fullback. Tailback is Russo. And they'll go to Russo. Slips his way at the line. Won't get much. Maybe to the 20-yard line as that very tough linebacking crew of Kevin Kirby and Mark Brocker shut the hole down. They're not big, this Kings Point team, but very quick on the line. Very quick, and it looks like they're pretty strong also. They're able to hold their position and an attacking defense. Big down coming up. 3rd and 7 for the Redmen. Long comes out as a flanker to the left. Bannon in a 3rd and 7 situation with time, looking for the sideline, incomplete, looking for the far side as he was trying to hit Tommy Lenahan. Richie Reynolds was defending on the play. It'll set up a 4th down play. Well, the pattern was not run deep enough to get the 1st down anyway. I'm sure that that's something they'll talk about when they look at the film, because even if the ball had been caught, it would still be 4th down and they would still be punting. Iadivio kicked 31 yards his first punt. Mariners should get good field position again. Quinn and Reynolds standing back at around their own 45-yard line. The left-footer line drives this downfield, and it will bounce to Quinn at the 44-yard line. Quinn looking for the left sideline, has an alley, cuts it back, and picks up big yardage inside the 35 down to around the 33-yard line as he was brought down by Carl Volpe, but an excellent return, a 22-yard return on the punt. Well, excellent field position once again. They have controlled field position throughout this young football game, and that's got to make Coach Rick a little bit nervous as we see him moving back and forth, wondering if he's going to get out of this one unscathed. Last time the fumble snapped, and they are in position again to challenge for numbers. So let's see if Mr. Clark could move his club down. They missed the field goal opportunity earlier. Out of the run and shoot. Stearns right up the middle for about 7 yards with a quick burst. Wes Stearns, Ray Lambert brought him down, the freshman defensive end. Stearns is very similar, as we said, to Anthony Russo, 5'10", 180. And, you know, you got to figure, I don't care what he says, when he's looking at the numbers that Russo has put up and the reputation that Russo has, you know, he's got to figure he's going to come in and show people that he's every bit as good and just as exciting. 9-yard pickup, 2nd and 1. They'll keep it on the ground, and Stearns bounces off a couple of tacklers. He heads to the end zone, and he's in. 24-yard touchdown run for Wes Stearns. And the Redmen defense, which had not given up a point in the first quarter all season long, gives up 6 here early with 10:04 to go in the first quarter. Well, the question is, how will they react? I mean, that's and the way it happened. I mean, you're talking about just
meeting a team head on. My people can block better than your people can rush. My people are better than your people, face to face, and they go in for a score.
All right, they'll try the extra point here. Enright is 12 for 12 in extra points. Let's see if the snap is handled again. This time Ketterer handles it. The ball on the way, and the kick is going to be good. So the Kings Point Merchant Marine Academy strikes first, just as Pace did last week. St. John's falls behind. As we take a look at this excellent run, watch the blocking for Wes Stearns here.
Well, he pops a little hold there, good push on the inside, but breaks a tackle. That's what the great ones do. Runs right through a tackle, and it's just a straight surge geometrically. That's the quickest way to get to the end zone, straight up the middle.
Give credit to the middle of that offensive line, the two guards, Mike Gerisi, the captain, number 51, and Tony Robinson, the other senior, at the other guard spot. And Eric Nichols, sophomore, number 50. You saw him throw a good block, and the tackle missed at the very end. Milt Gasparis, who had some problems last week pass defending, just couldn't catch up with Stearns there.
Just dove out, put an arm out, couldn't get enough on him to bring him down.
You know, as we look at this, Beasley, you look at Stearns last year, he had quite a ball game against St. John's, 350 total yards. And he rushed for 156 yards, 2 touchdowns, caught 4 passes for 59, and returned a lot of kicks. So this guy has played well against St. John's.
He's coming in this game with the confidence that memory brings.
Enright will kick off. Broadway and Amalfitano are deep. So we await the kickoff here. Last year, remember, these two clubs put on quite a show. 65-45 was the final score. Enright drives this one downfield, and it'll be taken by Amalfitano at the 4-yard line. Up the middle, 20, 25-yard line, and he's down as he gets to the 26-yard line. Brought down by John Corris, as the Redmen will have the ball for the 3rd time in this game. They have been unable to move the first 2 times. Let's see if Sean Bannon can get them untracked here. Look at the scoring summary. Well, only 2 plays, 33 yards, 36 seconds, and a quick 7-0 lead for the Merchant Marine Academy. Now, brief discussion going on. There's a flag on the play, and they're talking to St. John's right here. Referee Lou Nazaro talking things over with Sean Bannon. They may re-kick. And that's exactly what they'll do. St. John's says, we want another try. Maybe we can run this one back. We've got it only at the 26. So they'll walk it off.
Yeah, sometimes a decision like that will come back to bite you. That was a pretty good return. It's the best starting point that they've had so far in this game. But that's one of those decisions that only time and the time it takes them to line up and kick it again will tell. Of course, they'll get an advantage in a 5-yard head start on this thing because of the penalty.
Well, as you look at Wes Stearns, and we saw him on that excellent run, he's explosive when he hits the line of scrimmage, and he's an excellent cutter. Both he and Anthony Russo are blessed with those qualities. So the Mariners will be kicking off at the 30-yard line. Next week, we'll have the St. John's Redmen in action once again, taking on CW Post. It'll be homecoming over at CW Post. And we'll be on the air next Saturday at 1:30. Post, by the way, playing a very big game tomorrow against Iona. Right now, Post and St. John's tied in Liberty Conference play at 3-0. Amalfitano will take it at the 10-yard line. 25, 30, doing a couple of moves to the 35, 36. So they picked up about 10 yards on the play, so it worked to their benefit. Rob Sasso and John Corris combining on the stop. And St. John's takes over 1st and 10 at around the 35.5-yard line. Well, that Kings Point defense, as you see, has not allowed a point for 9 straight quarters. And right now they'd like to make it 10. St. John's got untracked offensively last week. Dave Rangali in the ball game as a tight end, number 86. Bannon to Russo. Tries the left side of the line. Nothing doing there, as very quick to the ball was Kevin Kirby and Mark Brocker. Those very good inside linebackers who lead the team in number 1 and number 2 in tackles. And that 50 defense, which features 5 men at the line of scrimmage and the 2 inside linebackers, as we said earlier, not to belabor the point, has just been outstanding the last few ball games.
It really is. They have somebody on every offensive lineman. They stymie the initial charge, and the linebackers are free to roam.
2nd and 9. Russo has been held to 7 yards on 4 carries so far. Broadway has the ball, and Broadway will cross the 40 to around the 42-yard line, setting up a 3rd and about 4 play. Chuck Broadway getting a little more playing time than he did last week when we saw Mike Robinson in there quite a bit.
Right. The defensive line for Kings Point is slanting left and slanting right, and of course when they guess right, it has been for no play. That time they slanted to the right, the play popped inside to the left, and as a result they got a little gain out of it.
Robinson back in as fullback, replacing Broadway. 3rd and 4 from the 42-yard line. Pitch to Russo, and Russo will not get the first down. Again, that swarming defense. Kevin Kirby, Mark Brocker stopping St. John's cold. This will be their 3rd punt here in the 1st quarter.
Well, they've got to figure out a way to loosen things up a little bit. They will obviously have to consider putting the ball up in the air on the next series. I think it's been established so far that Kings Point is able to run with and play with when it comes to matching up offensive line against defensive line. They've been able to match up very well.
Ardivio's 3rd punt. The left-footed kicker has averaged 33 yards. High snap. They come, and they almost block it. And he drives the man back to the 20-yard line. Returning the kick is Andy Quinn. Had a good return earlier and sidesteps down the sideline, goes out of bounds. But it'll be a pretty good field position once again for the Mariners. They lead here 7-0 with 7:52 to go in the 1st quarter.
Kings Point has been almost perfect in every category except for that bobbled exchange on the field goal try. Excellent blocking on the special teams and excellent blocking on offense. And they've just done it's been a perfect game for Kings Point so far.
1st and 10 for the Mariners at the 32-yard line. Clark to throw, has time, complete, but being wrapped up was Brett Russell very quickly by Steve Neves, the outstanding strong safety. Let's go down on the field, and here's sideline reporter Carl Reuter.
All right, Barry, after that last touchdown by West Stearns right up the middle, the defense came over. They were talking to the coaches. The word from upstairs, they pointed fingers at Frank Pawlowski, 63, 79 Raymond Lambert. They said that the offensive line of Kings Point is standing them up. The coaches said, I'm watching both of you, meaning that if they don't do the job, they're coming out of the ball game. Barry.
All right, we'll see what happens here. They line up with the triple set to the left side on 2nd and 7. They'll keep it on the ground to Stearns, and he leaps over one man, stopped at around the 38-39 yard line by Scott Biter and Frank Pawlowski, the aforementioned tackle. And there's a look at Frank. See how they did on this play.
Take a look at the initial charge. One man collapsed, one man picked up and turned out. I tell you, they're getting a great initial shot from Kings Point. Just a good opening burst. And with a guy like Stearns, if you give him just the slightest crack, he can be gone. 3rd and about 3 from the 39-yard line for the Mariners, leading 7-0, 6:34 to go, 1st quarter. Stearns again, the single setback. And did they spend too much time? Yes, indeed. It'll be the 2nd delay of game penalty against the Mariners. And coach has got to be a little upset at that. Everything else has been going fine except for a couple of those penalties. Well, it's hard to figure why something like that would happen.
Delay of game on the offense, still 3rd down.
And the nature of the run and shoot offense is not, it's not that complicated that it would lead to this type of thing. They do run a lot of motion, and the only thing I can in the wrong position, maybe they were waiting to get. Well, the defense has been pretty standard, pretty vanilla.
3rd and 8 from the 34 to and so wrapped up along with Frank Pawlowski, number 63. So maybe helped them. And there's a guy, the junior from Xavier High School in Brooklyn, who leads the team with 10 sacks. Enright will be doing the punting here. Double safeties as they have Iadivio back along with Lenahan. Plenty of time for Enright, who has averaged about 35 yards a kick. Iadivio will take it at the 26. Gets away from the initial tackler. Flag is thrown on the play. They may call it back as he gets to the 45-yard line. Flag down at the point where he caught the football. Paul Guardoni and Robert Enright, the kicker, combined on the tackle, but that may cost St. John some yardage. Let's see what the officials come up with.
It could have been a face mask that I think they may let him get away with.
Oh, it's against the Merchant Marine Academy, the face mask. Maybe an inadvertent, we'll see.
Yeah, it was. He reached out and slapped Iadivio's face guard, but he let it go immediately.
38-yard punt and a 14-yard return.
Kicking team, first down.
It happened early in the play. He has just caught the ball. The move right there. Great move. Because all the guy could do was reach back and just slap it. He didn't hold on to it, so only a 5-yard penalty.
So the Redmen with excellent field position just across midfield, the nose of the football. 5:40 to go, first quarter. They trail 7-0, have done nothing offensively here. Russo tries the right side of the line, tries to turn it outside, uses his speed to break down the sideline, and has the first down before going out of bounds at around the 37-yard line, run out by Harold Krebs.
Well, that was a very well executed play that time. So far, Russo has been cutting everything up inside. He's been running everything inside. That time just a burst of speed. Stretched the defense to the point where it couldn't corral him. Just a good run by Russo.
Russo has that 4.55 speed. Compact little body, about 5'8.5", 185 pounds. And he's well on his way to breaking the all-time single-season rushing record held by Manny Tasantis.
Yeah, he'll blow those numbers out of the box. He's over 700 right now, and I think the record is 1,053.
Exactly. First and 10 at the 40-yard line. Pickup of exactly 10 on that play. Cannon will keep it on the ground as they go up the middle for about 5. Mike Robinson, the ball carrier, stopped by Mark Brocker.
St. John's keeping to the game plan. They haven't panicked or come out of their system, just running the ball, popping it inside to the fullback.
And there's a look at Mike Robinson heading out. He and Chuck Broadway have been alternating at fullback. Robinson, a kid we mentioned last week, lost about 20 pounds, much quicker this year, an excellent blocker. Broadway, who has almost as much speed as Russo, in the ballgame now, lining up as the fullback. Now he's a blocking back for Russo. He missed his block, and Russo goes down at around the 35. There is a yellow hanky on the field. Penalty flag. Steve Brody, the nose tackle, with the tackle for the Mariners. This one looks like it's going to be against St. John's. Perhaps a holding called Bees. We'll wait. There'll be a clip. That's a drive stopper.
Yeah, it most certainly is, and a very dangerous penalty.
It was 2nd and 7. Let's see what they decide to do.
Clipping, offensive team, still second down.
Tell you, that's one that can really hurt somebody. Take a look at the right side of your screen and see if we can pick it up. There it is. Looks like 17 got him from behind, and a long penalty
by Jeff Long.
Yeah.
Well, you can see the rain coming down here at Redmen Field. 2nd and 23. Bannon with a deep drop. Could be a screen. They will screen it out. Broadway could not hang on to the football. It's incomplete. Clock stops with 4:35 to go. Bannon now 0 for 3 in the passing department. John Morganti was putting a little pressure on.
That was just good hustle by the defensive team that time to mess that play up. It looked like it was going to be set up very well.
So the Redmen have done very little offensively here in the first quarter. They stumbled last week, if you recall, in the first quarter against Pace. Didn't really get it started until the closing seconds of the first half when Bannon led them on a touchdown drive. Only 21 yards total offense so far. Russo will try to change that, but he won't do much. Picks up about 5, and it'll be another punt for St. John's as he's brought down by Kirby and Brocker, the inside linebackers. It'll be a punting situation. 4th punt coming up for Iadivio. He has averaged so far about 30 yards or so on the punts.
Well, the inclement weather, the rain is starting to come down now. I think that will benefit St. John's a lot more than it'll help Kings Point with the passing that they try to do. It'll be a little more difficult.
Quinn takes it inside the 10, has a wall down the sideline, cuts back and is down as he gets to the 27-yard line, about a 17-yard return. Mariners have done an excellent job on the punt returns tonight, picking up about 10, 15, 20 yards on their returns.
They've done, the Mariners have done well in every phase so far tonight. Good return there. The question now is, will they still be able to throw the little quick passes they've tried to throw? They'll probably have to feature Wes Stearns. They've been featuring him, but they'll probably have to go to that a little bit more, especially if the rain starts to come down a little bit harder. Sometimes the ball comes out a little bit high, you get tips, you get fumbles, and it'll get a little messy here.
1st and 10 from the 27-yard line. Stearns, left side, has 7, 8, 10, and 11 yards on the play. Wes Stearns powering over the left side. Scott Waite, the freshman cornerback, brought him down, but not before he picked up another first down. Stearns limping a little bit, but he is a tough cookie.
And take a look at this run. Stearns leads up, bounces out almost immediately, and starts to hit it. Oh, I saw, oh my goodness, I saw him turn his ankle a little bit and then get yanked down kind of straight.
That was kind of a hog tie.
It was, but he's a tough kid. Let's see if he can hang in there.
He certainly is. Right now, it is 1st and 10 at the 38-yard line. With the rain coming down. Looking deep to the sideline. Gill bumping with Borg. No flag. And the ball goes incomplete. Clark now 3 for 5 for 26 yards, setting up a 2nd down play here.
Clark didn't have any trouble airing the ball out in the rain that time. He had a pretty good pass on. The defender cut off the receiver's path.
Clark looking for the call from the sideline. Dennis Barrett sending in the plays. 3:19 to go here in the first quarter. Kings Point on the Stearns run leading by a score of 7-0. Libby in the ball game as the running back. As back to throw is Clark. Diving attempt at around the 49-yard line. They rule it incomplete.
Got it on the short hop.
Brett Russell, the intended receiver, setting up a 3rd down play. So Stearns has not come back in the ball game since getting jarred on that 1st down run.
Take a look at the shot, see if we can find the bounce. Boy, that was close, but it was on the short hop.
Well, you get a lot of those short hops on the AstroTurf. Big 3rd down play. Daly going in motion from left to right. Clark rolling. Hit as he throws. Incomplete. As they had the blitz coming that time. Putting the pressure on was Frank Pawlowski. And he forced him to throw a little bit too quickly.
Frank Pawlowski with a good rush there. He has really come on, I guess, in this series, making a couple of nice plays.
This will be the 2nd punt for Enright. He stands back at his own 25-yard line. Iadivio and Frazetta are deep to receive the kick. Frazetta, a real good punt returner. We saw him last week return a couple of dandies. This time it'll be Iadivio at the 21. Trying to get away, 30, 32-yard line. Excellent defensive play. Andy Quinn and John Corris combining on the stop. Mariners defensively have been flawless here. Their special team coverage and their downline coverage has been superb. Total yards so far, St. John's just 26 yards in the first 12.5 minutes in this first quarter. Birch Marine has 78 yards offense. So the Redmen take over 1st and 10 at the 33-yard line. Jeff Long, who caught 8 passes last week, comes out wide to the bottom of your screen. Russo and Broadway are the running backs. And the play action to throw. Bannon gets it complete to O'Grady, and he is shoved back beyond the line of scrimmage, brought down by Ed McErleen, as that was a safety valve pass. O'Grady with his 3rd catch of the year.
O'Grady is the #1 sacker.
He got sacked there pretty good.
For his team, and he sees what it feels like on that play. Bannon was looking for Jeff Long, number 17, over the middle. His favorite throw is those little delayed passes over the center, right down the middle. But Long was pushed out, and it took him too long to get on the inside, so he had to go to the safety valve.
Not much doing for Russo. They strung the play out, and Harold Krebs takes him down. Good play by Rob Sasso, who strung the play out and let Krebs finish him off, setting up another 3rd down and long situation for St. John. Seems they've been in that situation all night so far.
That's true. Kings Point has really done an excellent job of chasing the football, and they really hitting hard and attacking. Just
3rd and 9 at the 34-yard line. Bannon looking for a 1st down here. The offense continues to struggle. Straight back. High pass in and out of the hands of Robinson. He was jarred on the play. Jarred by Jim Holly. And also on the play was Steve Bodie putting some pressure in on the quarterback.
Every now and then when it's wet, when the ball gets a little wet, the ball comes out high, and when the receiver has to reach up, it'll come off of his fingers. That was almost the classic case of a defender running under a bouncing ball, bouncing off of a receiver's fingers.
5th punt for Iadivio. Quinn takes it at the 35. Looking to turn outside, has blockers there, cuts it back, and another excellent return to the 49-yard line. Another 16-yard return by Andy Quinn, who's looked very good on punt returns. Finally brought down by Rich Colangelo.
Special teams apparently will play a pretty big role here because, as you brought it up a few minutes ago, every return has been a good return for Kings Point. It's not that they have to break anything. The punt return has done its job already. Great field position.
5 returns so far for 80 yards. Right now, they have the ball just inside the 50-yard line. Let's call it the 49-yard line. Chris Clark has Daly going in motion. And they'll go now to number 24, and that is the youngster. Now checking, Wes Stearns had just carried the ball. Stearns back in. Colangelo on the stop. Setting up a 2nd down play. About a minute to go.
He didn't. Now Volpe made the tackle there, but Rich Colangelo really bogged things up and forced the runner to just have to kind of fall over him. Just a great play there.
Steve Douglas, number 99, 6'9", tight end in the ball game right now as Daly goes in motion. And in trouble, but Clark able to avoid him. Looking to throw, and it is going to be complete at the 38-yard line. A diving catch by Rick Gill.
That was a dangerous pass that he was able to get into Gill. Just a great play there. Steve Neves almost had that ball. That's what it was like a surgery thing. Take a look at this. Waits to the last second. Lets it go hot. Look at Neves. Oh! Reaching his hand in. Almost got it. Just a good play.
Did you notice David Daly, number 89, he was right behind it. He said, my ball. It's for me. 1st and 10 at the 38-yard line. 20 seconds to go in the quarter. Clark throwing. He's got a man open. Overthrows him. He had Daly wide open at the 25-yard line. Overthrew him. Scott Waite was defending on the play. A near interception.
You know, there's no way you can adjust for that either. When the ball's a little bit wet, you see the towel that's on the quarterback's stomach there. He's aware of the fact that the ball could come out just a little bit high, but there's no way you can aim a little bit lower, no way to adjust for that.
17 seconds to go in the quarter. 2nd and 10 from the 38-yard line. Clark will keep it on the ground, and nothing doing right there as Carl Volpe shut down the play. Wes Stearns stopped, and that should be the final play of the first quarter. By the way, Clark is 4 for 9 for 38 yards so far. And that is it. The clock has ticked down, and that's the end of the first quarter, as the Mariners of Kings Point hold a 7-0 lead over the Redmen of St. John's. We'll be right back here at Redmen Field, and you see some of the youngsters enjoying the action. Let's go Redmen. Right now the Redmen not going anywhere because the Mariners have shut them down, Beasley. Only 27 yards total offense in the first quarter. Birch Marine with 91, and you add on those 80 yards on returns. It's been all Kings Point here.
It really has. You got to say that they, without question, won the first quarter.
3rd and 9 from the 37 as Daly goes in motion. Clark shovel pass. This is Russell. Russell has the first down. And he's down at around the 26-yard line. So Brett Russell on that little shovel pass, stopped by Steve Neves. And that play turned out to be a very effective one.
Just a perfect execution, a dangerous play. As you see Russell a little bit banged up there, down to his knees after the play, but still very effective. Good. He sold it there with a good pass fake. Russell takes the ball, cuts straight up. Let's see where he got. See if we can figure out where he got banged up. Whoa! Just a good shot by Neves.
Clark throwing deep. Gasparis was the closest man to the ball. David Daly was the intended receiver, and that'll stop the clock. Set up a 2nd and 10 play. A lot of action here for David Daly as we look at Russell still on the sideline. They will take another look how he was injured.
Well, it was the hit by number 31, Steve Neves, coming up at the end of this play right there. That kind of got him in the ribs, I believe, and that's why he's down over there trying to walk it off.
Well, let's see what they can come up with right here. Quinn lines up wide to the right along with Rick Gill. Daly, that man in motion. Russell looking right, has Gill out there at the 20 and pulls forward for a first down inside the 15-yard line. So Rick Gill, the senior from Scappoose, Oregon, who's the fastest on the team with 4.5 speed, brought down by Steve Neves, but not before he picked up a first down. 2 catches for Gill for 24 yards, and the Mariners are marching on the door once again here.
Well, they rolled the defense into his brother Ron, so the weak side left Rick Gill with a little open space, and they popped him.
Now this time, brother Ron lines up wide to the bottom of your picture. And the handoff to Stearns, not much as he cracks inside the 15 to maybe the 14-yard line as he was brought down by Scott Biter. Setting up a 2nd and 9 play at the 14. Key situation here for St. John's. Their offense has been so impotent in this first half. They've got to make a defensive stand here, not give up another touchdown.
Well, they need to, you know, your goal at this point is 3. You want to make sure you hold them to a field goal attempt.
Stearns, the single setback. Clark with a quick look-in pass, and it's going to be complete to Gill, and he gets to the 5-yard line. Ronnie Gill, the junior, he's a year younger than Rick, made a fine catch, and then with that good dive, picked up about 3 or 4 yards on that play.
Really good balance. I mean, he was struck almost immediately. Number one, the pass was a little bit errant. He had to reach back and make a tough catch. Turns around. Look at the surge right there. That's special. That's about 3 extra yards.
Steve Neves, the only veteran in that secondary that's banged up. Del Rey is out for the season. Villar, their fine safety, is out of the game. He's got a bruised neck and shoulder as they'll bring the chains into measure. So that St. John's secondary, which figured to be a problem for them, they exploited a little bit here on the run and shoot. You can see how close it is over there. And it is a 1st and goal. 8th first down for the Merchant Marine Academy to 1 for St. John's. And that Redmen defense, which has been so tough against the run, is going to have to make a stand here. Ball marked at the 5-yard line. 10th play of this drive. Clark has the play from the sideline. Now they'll go with a full house backfield here, working out of a power I. They send a man in motion. Clark rolling, pitching to Stearns, and Stearns dragged down for a loss of 2. Brought down on the play by Vince O'Grady and Scott Bider.
Well, the defense really has to take an attitude here that if we can stop them, as we see mass substitution right now, they may try to go back to a more of a run-and-shoot look. But if they can stop them here, it could be a little bit of a momentum switch for the entire team. Certainly the defense would be pumped up. It might can get the offense going if they can hold them here, but it's going to be tough. 7 yards to go.
Stearns has gained 52 yards and 10 carries. Time running out on the clock, and they call a timeout with 1 second left on the clock, so they are forced to take a timeout here. Otherwise, they would have lost 5 big yards at the line of scrimmage there.
Yeah, they're having a lot of trouble getting the plays in and out, and it would have been horrible right there.
Dennis Barrett on the sideline, former star at the University of Cincinnati, great high school coach at Monsignor Farrell High School in Staten Island. They've had some great football players over the years. 10th year. That's the longest time any coach has been at that academy. So Dennis Barrett has decided what he's going to do right here, and the Merchant Marine Academy forced to go second down, and they'll mark the football at the 7-yard line, where it will be second down.
Not a time that they really wanted to call a timeout. It also gave the defense an opportunity to gather as a unit over with their coach to try to calm them down, get some personal one-on-one instruction in a key situation.
Well, St. John's defense has been awesome defensively on the ground. They have stopped everybody they've come up against this year, averaging just 52 yards a game, but already Stearns has gained over 52 yards in this one. Clark has wide receivers left and right. Setting a man in motion. They'll keep it to Stearns, and he's dragged down from behind. Vince O'Grady again with the defensive play. Boy, is he quick getting in the backfield.
He really is, and that was a big play that time. I'm sure that they were expecting to see a pass the way they had the defense spread out with the receivers, but just a standard handoff. Tries to bounce outside, but O'Grady right there to lock his arms around his hips and just ride him down.
Well, Kings Point will exercise their second time out. Chris Clark going to the sideline to talk things over with Dennis Barrett. As you look at Vince O'Grady, who has played both ways. Barrett talking to his junior quarterback from Butler, Pennsylvania. Had a good game against St. John's last year, although threw 4 costly interceptions. He was 19 for 40, close to 250 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, this is interesting. You've got complete huddle with coaches, offense and defense, critical situation, 3rd and 4. So the huddle on the 25-yard line. And let's go quickly to Carl Reuter on the sidelines.
Barry, just standing down here, there's a lot of confused faces on the St. John's players. The coaches are talking to them, telling them that stop arm tackling. They're just flailing away. They're not using their body, unlike the play by Vincent O'Grady just moments ago. But St. John's in a very confused state, coming off the field after not only defense but offense, shaking their head. Talking to former coach here, Dutch Ouderkirk, he was saying they're very young, especially Scott Waite, number 20, and 26, Milton Gasparis. And those are 2 numbers that quarterback Chris Clark has been shooting for and getting results in this game.
3rd and 4, Clark looking in the end zone, looking for Gill, a diving catch, incomplete as he couldn't hang on. Rick Gill was there. Jamie Borg was defending on the play, and that'll set up a potential field goal opportunity here for Enright.
Well, they had the play that they were looking for, just a one-on-one situation. Actually pretty good coverage as you see the defender right in front. That forces the quarterback to really lead him a little more than he wanted to out front.
22-yard attempt by Enright. The kick is up, and the kick is good. So the Merchant Marine Academy has taken a 10-0 lead, second field goal of the year for Enright. And kind of an interesting story, this Enright. He was the punter last year. And of course, they had a great field goal kicker, Rich Eagle, who set a record for freshman kicking field goals last year. He couldn't make it at school academically this year. He says, hey, he was my high school teammate. He was a heck of a kicker as well as a punter. Why don't you give him a shot, Coach? And he certainly has it. Enright has done the job. 13 for 13 extra points and a couple of field goals out of 4 chances.
Well, he certainly has done the job. That was a big one there. That puts them out front 10-0. They'll have to score twice to even get close. Good snap, good hold, good kick, and
Chris Ketter, a little pat on the run.
Yeah, he's kind of cool about it. I was waiting on him to throw a fist in the air or something. I guess when you go 13 for 13 and do as well as he's done, you expect it.
Well, you remember they had a chance in the first quarter, and Ketter fumbled the snap, and the field goal, of course, went awry as he ended up trying to pass. So it's been all Kings Point offensively here, and their defense has smothered St. John's, stopping Anthony Russo. Let's see if he can get on track. Sean Bannon and the Redmen trail 10-0. Chris Amalfitano is deep, number 82, along with Charles Broadway, Chuck Broadway, number 49. Enright kicking off. End-over-end kick. Amalfitano will take it at the 15-yard line. To the 25. Check it, it's Broadway on the return, and he's down at the 27-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Redmen, brought down by Joe Goodwin. Well, the last drive, 4 minutes, 19 seconds, 13 plays, 50 yards. Enright capping it with the 22-yard field goal. Let's see if the Redmen can get on track here. See if there are any changes for St. John's. Russo in at tailback. Looks like Mike Robinson is in at fullback. No, check it, it's Broadway in. Iadivio wide to the right, long to the left. Russo looking for a hole, picks up about 3 or 4 tough yards as he cracks across the 30 to around the 31-yard line. And again, Mark Brocker and Ed Mackerly on the tackle. Brocker out of North Canton, Ohio, calls the defensive signals. One of the real hitters on this team. Russo has been held to 26 yards and 8 carries, coming off the 235-yard effort last week against Pace. But as you recall, Beasley, most of those yards came in the second half. He was pretty well shut down, had about 60 yards in the first half.
Really good. You know, we talked about trying to hold a guy like him down. You can't do it all day long.
They'll try to hold him here, and they will stuff him. Maybe a yard gain. And again, Mackerleen and Brocker. St. John's not firing off the ball at offensive line. And we talked a little bit about perhaps the loss of Anthony Capek, a guy they use so much to go over. They're not getting the holes tonight so far, it appears.
Well, they are getting whipped, and that's really the only way you can put it on the offensive line. Both sides of the ball, it doesn't matter who has the ball. The line play and the linebacker play of Kings Point has been perfect so far.
Russo out of the ball game. Mike Frazetta, who's a better pass receiver, in at tailback, and Bannon will look to throw. Throwing for the sideline for Iadivio, and he has the first down. Spun out at around the 42-yard line by Rob Sasso. A big first down for the sputtering Redmen.
Iadivio with a great game last week. He's got good hands. He's a guy that can make things happen, and he certainly comes up with a big one this time. Just a standard out pattern, goes up, makes the break, quarterback sells it, looking downfield first. Good catch, good turn, got all he could.
Ball at the 42-yard line. Again, working out of the I formation. Tommy Lenahan is in the ball game, replacing Iadivio. On first down, Bannon to throw again. Throwing for long, and it's incomplete. Harold Krebs, or Richie Reynolds, rather, was over there defending. Try to lob that ball over. Reynolds was small at 5'7". We saw them burn a much smaller Patterson against Long last week. Long's at 6'2", so it's a good matchup if you're going to lob that ball.
That probably was the plan. Last week, Patterson was 5'8". This player is 5'7". Long is about 6'3", 6'2", 6'3", and has excellent hands. That time, though, The defender able to scoot in front. Reynolds almost made a big play.
Broadway in the ball game right now. And the handoff goes to Broadway. Stutter steps his way into the secondary. Could go! 30. 20. And he's dragged down inside the 5-yard line. Brought down by Harold Krebs, a 54-yard run for the freshman Chuck Broadway out of North Babylon High School in Suffolk County.
Well, that's exactly what they needed. Something to wake everybody up around here. Certainly waking up the Redmen sideline. Just a perfect play. Excellent cut. My son is a running back. I told him if you step in the hole and cut against the grain, that's what it looks like, cut against the grain right here, you can go. And that's certainly what it is. Now, this might have slowed him down right there where he changed hands, but who am I to say? Great run.
Russo back in the game, 2nd and goal at the 4. And this is Russo tripped up behind the line of scrimmage. It'll be a loss of about 3. A superb defensive play by Ed Mackerlead, the captain, a preseason All-America out of Connecticut High School in Suffolk County.
Mackerley and Brody forcing themselves on the inside there, and that's been the problem all day long. They simply cannot stop that defensive line. Penetration kills any offensive play.
They lost 3 on the play, so it's 1st and goal from the 7-yard line. Make that 2nd and goal. Again, working out of the I formation. To throw back and looking for the corner of the end zone, and it's going to be intercepted over there. Harold Krebs coming up with the interception, I believe. And that is interception number 4 for Harold Krebs, the preseason All-American safety out of Garden City High School. He's a big boy at 6'2 and a half, and he picked that one off. We saw him pick off 2 against Coast Guard. Not a well-thrown ball by Bannon. He wishes he had that one back again.
Well, the problem with that particular play was that when that play works well, the defensive back never sees the ball. He gets caught in a situation where he can't turn around. This time, the defender, as you see, had time to turn, locate, and he's so big that he jumps very, very well. It comes down with the play.
Iadivio had no chance there to get the ball. Clark will keep it on the ground to West Stearns, and let's see if St. John's responds defensively here. Oh, check it. There's the umpire, ball carrier. And it was Matt Libby on the rush. Let's go to Carl Reuter on the sideline.
Barry, a blow in the ball game right now to Kings Point on the sidelines. Icing it up, is out for this half at least. John Cavanaugh said West Stearns has a badly sprained left ankle. He's sitting on the sidelines now with ice. He will not be back in this half, and the way John Cavanaugh, the trainer, said, he might not be back in this ball game. Barry.
That could be a big loss. Matt Libby is the running back now, and Libby tries to turn it outside, brought down. Libby is a sophomore from Pleasantville, New Jersey, who had carried only 14 times coming into the ball game tonight for only 23 yards. There's West Stearns. You could see that foot up on the helmet there. What a big blow that would be. Drew Beers may also get a chance to play. We've been seeing him going in motion on a lot of these plays. He's a good-looking freshman running from Pennsylvania. 3rd and 2. Stearns on the sidelines with 11 carries, 55 yards, and a touchdown. Looking for the first down, and the Redmen stack him up. Libby will not get it as he got to the line of scrimmage, the 30. Had to get to the 31. Let's see where they mark his forward progress. Really stacked up there by Scott Bider and Ray Lambright and Rich Colangelo. So it looks like it is going to be a 4th down play. Officials want time, but they're going to bring in a measurement. Well, they really stood him up.
Really good job there, standing him up, pushing him back.
That kind of play, you don't want to let the ball carrier get an extra surge. That's all he needed, was another half yard maybe. They're going to bring the chains in anyway here to measure. In case you're just tuning in, the Merchant Marine Academy scored in the first quarter. West Stearns with a 24-yard touchdown run. Bob Enright added the extra point. That capped a 2-play, 33-yard drive. Then in the second quarter, Enright added a 22-yard field goal. And that's the story right now, 10-0. Kings Point now has not given up a point or a touchdown in 10 quarters. And they're trying to make it 11 quarters right now. The ball short by inches, as you could see.
Well, an interesting decision here.
You don't have Stearns in there, and you're leading 10-0. St. John's hasn't moved the ball very much except for that last drive. And let's see what they're going to do. Clark is in the ball game right now. I think they're going to go for it. So Dennis Barrett gambling here.
Well, you know, your offensive line has been pretty much controlling their defensive line. This would be one heck of a statement if they can come through in this situation.
Libby is the single setback. Clark trying to surge forward. May have it with that surge. Colangelo tried to shut him down along with nose guard Mike Cunningham, the senior from Plain Edge High School, same high school that Anthony Russo came from. And it is enough for the first down. Dennis Barrett. Dennis should be happy now.
Dennis is thinking about the next play.
Like any coach.
That's right.
You know, Dennis Barrett and Bill Parcell are best of friends. Hard to imagine a Division III coach, little guy like Dennis, fiery guys, and Bill Parcells over at the Giants. They are best of friends. Clark to throw. Has plenty of time now. Can't find anybody open. Will try to run it, and will be run out of bounds by Vince O'Grady. That will stop the clock with 7:17 to go.
Good decision there. You know, you see so many quarterbacks get in that situation, can't find anything, so they kind of heave one up in a desperate try to make a completion. Did the smart thing, just ran it out.
Well, that perhaps is the improvement in Chris Clark. We talked about the interception being a problem earlier, and just throwing the ball up for grabs. This time he was wise, as you said, Beasley, and did not put it up. St. John's will make a couple of defensive changes here in the ball game. Coming in for St. John's, number 46, Chris Carey as a linebacker. Drew Beers is the running back now, and they'll give it to Beers, and he goes forward to the 35. Not much of a hole there. Very short gain. Ray Lambright, a freshman defensive end who has been one of the pleasant surprises for the Redmen, stopped him. There's a look at Drew Beers. It'll be part of the halftime feature. Carl Reuter and Larry Roth spent a day with these Kings Point Merchant Mariners. They get up at like 4 in the morning, Bees, and have a long day academically, athletically. They really go through a lot, and it's an exciting feature, and Larry Roth and Carl Reuter were pretty exhausted at the end of the day. 3rd and 5 for Kings Point, leading 10-0, 6 minutes to go, first half. Clark with time, looking deep down the sideline for Gill. He's got it. Ronnie Gill out of bounds inside the 30 at around the 26-yard line. Jamie Borg, the defender, but a well-thrown ball, and Ronnie Gill, the two Gill brothers who were among the leaders in catches last year, had only 5 and 6 coming in. They've had a big game so far.
Well, they've been busy here today. Just everything here worked well. Good protection, lifting the ball up high. And, man, Gill with nothing but hands. There was no question whether or not he was going to catch that ball.
Ball at the 27-yard line. A long reception, 38-yard pass for Chris Clark. Clark doing an excellent job so far. The two Gill brothers have combined for 4 catches and about 70 yards. They'll keep it on the ground. Libby, but the whistle blew before the play. And let's see if it is another delay. Illegal procedure is the call against Kings Point. It'll cost them 5. It'll be 1st and 15 back at the 32. Mariners have been penalized 4 times so far for 20 yards.
The Mariners have really stopped themselves.
Dead ball, false start on the offense. First down.
St. John's has not been able to slow them down at all, and the only times they've gone backwards is when they've delayed the game or caused some other penalty.
Referee Lou Nazaro and his fine crew working tonight. 1st and 15 at the 32-yard line for Chris Clark. Matt Libby is the ball carrier, the single setback. Beers in motion. And looking for a hole is Libby. Makes a nice cut. He's got about 7 or 8 yards on the play. Matt Libby The sophomore from Pleasantville, New Jersey, picking up a nice gain. Didn't look like there was much on the play, but he cut back nicely.
There really wasn't anything there. He got everybody moving in one direction and then cut against the green. Whenever you can make that cut, there's usually something there. It's a dangerous cut because sometimes you make that cut against the green and there's one guy back there coming in that direction. You can really get nailed, but he got away clean that time.
Bob Ricca not very happy on the sideline. His team hasn't done much here in this first half. And they trail 10-0. Mariners on the move again. Clark, quick sideline pass complete. And it'll be to around the 15-yard line. Making the reception, Chris Ketterer, the junior from Elwood City, Pennsylvania. That's his 4th catch of the year. So he's using a lot of people that run and shoot. They've got about 7 or 8 receivers that they'll go to.
Moving the ball around very, very well. The big guy coming in now, number 99.
And that is the big guy, Steve Douglas, 6'9". He'll come in at tight end. First down for the Kings Point Merchant Marine Academy at the 14-yard line. Ketterer lines up wide to the right.
Got a lot of room up there.
Single coverage over there. Quinn going in motion. Rolling right, under pressure from Pawlowski. Throws. He has a man at around the 10-yard line. The reception, Chris Ketterer.
Chris Ketterer running a curl pattern. Took it almost to the end zone, but because of the trouble that the quarterback was in, he had the wherewithal to come back toward the quarterback, helping him out, and makes the catch. Nice little game.
Let's call it second and about 4. A 6-yard pickup on that last play. Under 4 minutes to go first half. Ronnie Gill lines up, flank wide to the right. Triple set to the near side. Ketterer coming in motion. Clark looking. In trouble. Throws, and it is going to be picked off by Steve Neves. He's got to beat Clark. Cuts on Clark, and still is on his feet. However, they say he went out of bounds at around the 38-yard line, and he is unhappy. Steve Neves coming up with his 5th interception of the year, and oh boy, was that a big one for the Redmen.
Well, that's the one that they needed, you know. That's the one that probably woke everything up, maybe give the team a little shot in the arm, and then, you know, you got to talk to Chris Clark about that one also. That was one that maybe he should have thrown into the ground or thrown away because he was under a lot of pressure on this play. People coming right in his face. Take a look there, almost in the grass by number 69, Mike Chucherius.
So let's see if the Redmen Beasley can take advantage. Bannon rolling right, looking out of the backfield to Broadway. Broadway taken down at the 42-yard line. A pickup of around 6 yards. Mackerline and Sasso on the tackle. Here's a look at Steve Neves, the man of the hour, the senior from Ronkonkoma.
See if we can catch the step. I don't see it yet. Must have barely got there. It was right there, right there.
Good camera work.
Good call and good camera work.
Larry Roth's crew doing another bang-up job. 2nd and 6 from the 42-yard line. Keep it on the ground. Russo trying to get the first down, and he has it. As he's down at around the 48-yard line. Trey Rasmussen, the left end on the tackle. Very similar to what happened in the game last week. St. John's not doing anything offensively to the closing seconds of the first half when Bannon led him down the field on a key drive that they tied up the ball game 7-7 at half. Let's see if he can do it here, Bees, or at least bring him a touchdown.
That's right. They need to get something on the board, take advantage of that little break. They seem to be moving with more resolve now.
Bannon under pressure, chased by Brody, and he'll fall forward. Puts his nose down and bowed straight ahead to pick up some yardage. Rasmussen and Holly combining on the hit. But the nose guard, Steve Brody, was in the backfield, really putting some pressure on him, forcing Bannon to run for his life.
Bannon coming off the ground with one thought in mind, to get to the to get to his coach to figure out what the deal was. Just check out the block in here. Uh-oh, tried to clip it.
Here's Brody chasing him. On 2nd and 6. Russo Oh, stood up and jammed as he got to the 45-yard line. Mark Broker and John Morganti, the big number 72, 6 foot, 230-pound senior.
Good play by the defensive line. One thing about Russo, there was nothing to the left, nothing to the right, so he tried to take the high road. There was nothing up there either.
Russo has been held in check. Broadway had the big play here for St. John's just before the interception. Russo held to 32 yards on 12 carries. Minute 25 to go and the clock counting. 3:34 to go. First half, St. John's trailing 10-0. And this is Russo. He will get the first down. Falls down inside the 40 at around the 36 or 37-yard line. And St. John's will take a timeout here to stop the clock with a minute 12 to go. Kevin Kirby brought him down along with Rob Sasso.
You know, that's the thing about Russo. When you watch him run, that time he burst inside, and then when they cut him off, he turned backwards and backpedaled for another 2 or 3 yards. He's the kind of runner that you look up, and all of a sudden he's putting up some numbers. He carries the ball a lot, sometimes only 2-3 yards a pop, but eventually he wears you down and breaks one. So you need to get something out of this.
Well, Sean Bannon, who last week had an excellent game, threw for 3 touchdowns, having his problems, 3 for 9 for just 14 yards and 1 costly interception in the end zone. Rob Ricka trying to pull something out of his hat right here. As his offense is huddled around him. Don't forget, coming up at halftime, Carl Reuter with that piece on the life of a Kings Point Merchant Marine Academy youngster. And also he'll be chatting with Jack Kaiser, the athletic director here at St. John's University. A lot of news involving the Big East this week with University of Miami joining the Big East. We'll find out what that's going to do for football and basketball. That's all coming up at halftime. Right now, we've got a minute 12 to go. First half, St. John's 1st and 10 at the 38-yard line, trailing 10-0. Iadivio to the right, Long to the left. Bannon with time. Out of the backfield to Broadway. He slips and will be stopped almost at the line of scrimmage. Clock is continuing to tick. Rob Sasso on the coverage. St. John's will not huddle here. Under 59 seconds to go. There you see the time. St. John's wasting seconds here getting set. Bannon looking. He has Long on the left. He's looking up the middle. Incomplete by Iadivio. He was hit hard. Triple coverage in the middle. Mark Brocker and Ed Mackerly.
Iadivio knew that was coming. That was a dangerous spot to put him in, but apparently nothing else available.
Clock stopped with 45 seconds. 10th play of this drive. St. John's has moved the football the last 2 times they've had the ball, but unable to score. On 3rd and 10. Bannon, sideline for Iadivio. They play him soft. He will get the first down. 20. And is down at around the 26-yard line. Kevin Kirby on the coverage. They were giving him that short pass there. They didn't want to get burned on it.
Well, they really were. They have really, for the quarterback, he's got to look one way, look the other, and try to figure out which one they're giving. And made the right choice that time.
Each team with 1 timeout. Hit the back.
Ready? Where's Bannon? If 19 is on one, I'm going to say on the left. Right. Score 99. You take a 5-step. Block and block, block and block. The back step right up hard. No, you got to go down the middle. Safety me. 19 is on. 19 is now Molly. But you got the back step inside. Where the back? Who's the other back? 199. Who's the other back? Drop, come in. Not armed, and you go back to 83 slow. What? Oh, come in.
Well, from what I can figure from that exchange, from what he was telling the backs to do, I can only surmise that they're going for maximum protection, telling the backs to stay inside, step up to the inside, and block on either side of the quarterback. You see the split formation by the backs, which would indicate that they're going to try to go to the end zone, a pattern that takes time, so maximum protection.
Bannon looking for Long. He's out there and just could not catch up to it. little bit too long for Jeff Long, as the speedy Reynolds was the defender. And again, they were looking for the mismatch in terms of size. Long at 6'2", Reynolds at 5'7", and just a shade overthrown.
Very even with maximum protection that time. The pocket was collapsing, and Bannon was forced to throw a little bit. Look, see the pocket collapsing right there, number 58, forcing his way on the inside and just forcing the throw to come out just a little bit quicker than he wanted it to. Just great rush by Steve Brody.
Bannon with time, dropping it out of the backfield, got pressured, looking for Broadway. Appeared to have enough time, but then they came really flying in on him. Rob Sasso coming in from the secondary was there, and Ed Mackerline and Jim Holly, number 47.
You see a little disgust, discouragement in Bannon as he walks away. Look at this again. They simply can't block these guys. As soon as he sets his back feet, there are people, bodies, all in the way, pushing the pocket.
Bannon 5 for 14 for 26 yards. 3rd and 10 from the 23. 30 seconds left in the half. Looking, he's got Long out there. Can Long get the first down, fight off some tacklers? No. He stopped it around the 19-yard line, and I'm sure St. John's will call a timeout, and yes, they do, and they'll probably go for it. Richie Reynolds, the defender on the play. It'll be a 4th down play for the Redmen. 4th and about 3 or 4.
Well, they've got a lot to talk about, but the conclusion, I can tell you right now, they'll have to go to the end zone. So we can look for probably a fade pattern to number 17 or some type of a trick route. When I say trick route, I mean breaking in and then breaking back outside, because that is done best by Anthony Idivio in the 44.
Redmen have no timeouts left, so they pretty much have to go to the end zone here with 20 seconds left. If they do get the first down, of course, the clock will stop for the chains to reset, so they'll get a little time there. The biggest play in the ballgame from Bob Ricker's crew, trying to protect a 5-0 record.
All they need is something on the board right here. 3, 7, doesn't matter. They need to get something on the board. They obviously have decided to go for the 7.
What a difference a year makes. St. John scored 65 points last year. Dallas Barrett's club has shut them out here.
I would have taken the field goal here.
Well, that's the weakness of their game. They don't have a kicker that they can count on from this distance. Bannon with time. Idivio cannot hang on to the football. Little guy. Reynolds was right there, hit him. And the Mariners defense has done the job once again. Richie Reynolds on the coverage. And St. John's gives up the football with 15 seconds to go in the first half.
You got 10 to get back, and like you say, the reason, I guess, Ricker really didn't have a choice. He doesn't really have a field goal kicker that he knows can walk out there and pop it through. But, you know, when you think about that situation, you say, let's go ahead and take the points. We've got to get 10 back. We'll get 3 now, get 7 later. It's good defensive play, hand on the inside. Can't ask for any better than that.
And that will do it as Clark will drop. St. John's has no timeouts left. And how about this Kings Point defense, Beasley? We talked about them coming in, shutting out 2 opponents. People said, hey, maybe those opponents weren't the strongest opponents in the world, because actually they come in after a couple of shutouts, and not against great teams. But here they are shutting out St. John's, and Dennis Barrett's club heads to the locker room with a 10-0 lead. And confused and wondering what's going on, because this is not a team that you shut out very easily.
In fact, in the history of their program, since it's been at varsity level, they have never been shut out. 127 times. Check me and make sure I'm correct.
It is indeed
127 games straight without, scoring a point. So this would be something if they could keep this performance up.
Well, their shutouts came against Pace 29-0 and Fairleigh Dickinson of Madison 42-0. So they have stopped the opponents 10 and a half quarters so far from scoring.
Well, this is a question of coaching now, what the adjustments will be.
And speaking of coaching, standing by on the field, Carl Reuter with Bob Ricker.
All right, Barry, thanks very much. Is disorganized a fair assessment of your club in the first half?
Not a disorganized call. I think we just have to do a few things of killing us, the punt return. I mean, you look at the 4 punt returns they had, probably about 80, 90 yards total right there in those few plays, and that's difference in field position. We had an opportunity down there, second down and goal from 4, we didn't cash in. So that play and those punt returns, and that's the first half.
Where the breakdown in the special teams then?
Yeah, we're just not getting to the outside. We're coming down, they're rolling to their left. We know it, we're telling the kids, but we're working on it now at halftime and make sure we get there in the second half.
Other than the long run by Broadway, the offense has been shut down.
Yeah, I think you're right. So we have to go back to the drawing board.
You're going to go right back to the drawing. You're starting from scratch? You're going to go with Bannon in the second half?
Sure. Yeah.
Any surprises from Kings Point?
No, we know they're tough, aggressive, and they come to play.
Good luck second half, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, Coach Bob Ricka, he goes off at halftime. His team is trailing by the score of 10-0. Remember, the Redmen are unbeaten this year. Now, when I come back...
School, they have a great football program, and years ago when Rick Barry was there, they had a very prominent basketball program as well. We're hopeful that they would be a great addition to the league, basically to solidify the position of our other 3 football playing schools. The 4 of them together now can command some scheduling, if they are able to develop a football-only league with some other schools, probably would be considered for a bowl bid, a television contract, and so on down the line. We just think that the type of school they are, the athletic program is very strong throughout, not just football. Their baseball is nationally prominent. We're just delighted to have them with us, and we feel they're a great addition to the conference.
Now, they're coming in right away next season.
Yes, all their sports that are going to compete will compete next year. Football, of course, there's no league yet, so that will remain independent, and baseball, because of the distances and expense, will remain independent. But all the others in which they play, our championship sports, will be in the league championships.
How does this bode for St. John's now? They are, of course, one of the top schools in the country, Division I basketball. Is there pressure now to maybe elevate the program of St. John's to 1AA, or are we separating football and basketball and the other sports right now?
Well, you're talking about our football program.
Yes.
There is legislation that has been delayed a year. It won't be before the convention because of all that reform that's going on at this convention, but the following one there will be a definite proposal to have 1 AAA football, which means Division I football, but on a need basis similar to what we have now. It'll go under the same guidelines and the same financial aid rules.
Is this a big coup for the Big East? Because it already is a top quality conference, but to add Miami, how much more does that make this conference? How much bigger?
Well, number one, there's a great market in Florida, if you're thinking television-wise. I think it's a basketball program that can grow. I think our alumni from all the northern schools are very numerous down there, and we think that football, especially their program being nationally ranked every year in the top 5, will solidify the position of our teams and present a base on which we can build perhaps a football-only Big East conference.
Not that you don't enjoy going on the road trips to Boston College, Pittsburgh, and Syracuse. You were quoted in the paper saying this is one trip you're not going to miss, Miami.
That was a very accurate quote.
That's one of the more accurate ones in all your years here at St. John's. Jack, thanks very much for coming by, and good luck and much success with Miami in the Big East.
Thank you very much, Carl. It's a pleasure to be here.
Jack Kaiser has been my guest here at halftime. At halftime, 10-0, St. John's trailing to Kings Point. When we come back, halftime numbers and highlights with Beasley Reese. Stay with me. I guess a little friendly argument before the game. Right. We were saying who we thought might win, and you thought St. John's was a very balanced club, but they haven't been so balanced in this first half.
Really, they haven't gone either way on the tilt. The defense hasn't been able to do anything, and certainly offensively, Kings Point has shut down the run, so Russo has practically been a non-factor. They haven't been able to get anything going.
What do you see as the problem right now for St. John's? Bob Rickett told me at halftime he thinks a lot of breakdown in the special teams, but his offense has been non-existent.
Well, they are getting beat up on the line of scrimmage, both sides of the ball. They're not able to block. They're not able to stop the Kings Point offense from blocking them. It is simply a case, you lose that battle. You lose the battle on the line, and it's going to be very difficult to get anything going. Bannon can't get a pass off because they are just forcing and pushing the pocket back in his face. He can't get anything going, and so that's really the key. They're losing at the line of scrimmage.
All right, 10-0 Kings Point on top. Let's take a look at the halftime numbers. And Beasley, when you look at the numbers, what do you like?
Well, really, when you take a look down, it's just a question of when it comes down to rushing, take a look at that one. You see 80 for Kings Point and 101 for St. John. Now that's misleading because Broadway got 54 on the one run. And in the passing situation, you see what it is there. The turnovers are about even. Really nothing that really stands out when you take a look at the numbers. You know, you have to remember that Stearns is out of this thing, so that may get St. John back into a competitive situation in the second half.
One touchdown in the first half, and it came with 10:04 left.
A couple of big plays that they made, you know, the interception that kept a touchdown away. They could very easily have put some points on the board, but so far it's been Kings Point winning the battle at the line of scrimmage, and I'm telling you, if you can't win that one, there's no way in the world you can get anything going.
Well, I want to remind you folks, Sean Bannon warms up on the sideline. Bannon 6 for 16 in the first half. One interception, a costly one, as he was throwing in the end zone, and gained only 35 yards through the air. St. John's rushing, Russo 14 carries, 38 yards. Broadway 3 carries, 56 yards. You take away that Broadway run, and St. John's just did absolutely nothing in that first half offensively. And as far as Wes Stearns, he is still on the sidelines, and as Carl pointed out, expected to play in the second half. The ball 3 times and gained, check that, we'll give you his right stats, gained 55 yards in that first half. And the big...
Interesting to try to figure out what adjustment St. John's at the half, how they feel like they can block those guys up front to allow Bannon enough time to get a pass or two off, to get Russo in motion in the running game.
Rob Castilli getting ready to kick off. Richie Reynolds is deep. Ball will be coming down and will be taken at around the 18-yard line. Across the 20 with the ball is Drew Beers, and Beers with a fine return up to around the 40-yard line, and the Mariners will have excellent field position. Beasley starting the second half. Ray Lambright bringing him down.
Once again is the phrase we can put in front of that one. They have been starting from the preferred lie all night long here.
So let's see if the Redmen, who have relied on their defense all year to come up with big plays, can come up with a couple here. As the Mariners send out Rick Gill to the right side, Matt Libby in the ball game as the single setback. Beers going in motion. Libby to the left side, and Neves wraps him up, and the rest of the Redmen finish him off. But Neves getting good penetration, coming up quickly from the secondary, along with Carl Volpe, the linebacker.
That's a strong safety playing it about as well as it can be played. He recognized, smelled out the play immediately, attacked it across the line of scrimmage, and destroyed any possibility of success. That was perfect.
1-yard pickup on the play. 2nd and 9 for the Mariners. Out over the ball comes Eric Nichols. Beers in motion. Clark with time, looking for the sideline, overthrows Gill. He was well defended on the play by Jamie Borg, setting up a 3rd and 9.
Jamie Borg with perfect position there, and you can tell that was one of those patterns where if the cornerback was up, he was going to run one thing. If the cornerback was back off of him, he was going to run another pattern, and the quarterback and receiver just not in sync there because they were nowhere close in connecting on that pass.
Clark 10 of 19 for 120 yards, 1 interception, and on 3rd and 9, he'll have 2 receivers to the right, 2 to the left.
Big play for the St. John's defense. If they can stop him here and get a punt return going, maybe they can change their fortune a little bit.
Clock rolling right, looking for Gill. He'll throw deep for Gill, and it is a great catch by Gill, who fumbles the football. St. John's trying to come up with it, and it appears the Redmen have recovered the football. Jamie Borg coming up with it after Ronnie Gill made a spectacular catch, but couldn't hang on to the ball.
The pattern was an out and go. It was read perfectly by the defenders, but they got caught in a position where they couldn't see the flight of the ball. Gill with just a perfect catch, and then fortunately for St. John's, able to strip.
We have a flag on the play, though.
And there's the strip. And now it's just a question of hustling to see who comes up with. Look at the hustle.
The penalty appears to be against St. John's on sportsmanlike conduct, but they will retain possession. on the fumble recovery. So this big play defense, which has done the job for St. John's all year coming up with the fumble recovery, their plus-minus ratio has been outstanding. One reason why they have a 5-0 record, even though their offense has struggled pretty much all year.
Unsportsmanlike conduct on the offense. First down.
Somebody did a study in the National Football League about interceptions and turnovers, and they say that a sack usually equals a 3-point swing in scoring, and the interception normally leads to a touchdown. So 22 sacks and 13 interceptions, so that's the reason that St. John's is undefeated.
First and 22 at the 12-yard line. So the Redmen start deep in their own territory. Broadway tripped up, maybe a yard. Trey Rasmussen, number 13, brought him down. The Redmen do not start off very effectively here.
Well, they are in such a hole right now because of the unsportsmanlike that it's going to be very difficult.
Art Costello, number 38, is coming in the ballgame for the first time for the Redmen. He's a fine blocker. He's in at fullback right now. They need some blocking for Bannon in an obvious pass situation here. They'll keep it on the ground for Russo. Cuts upfield, and Krebs brings him down. If he had gotten by Krebs, he was off to the races there.
Well, that was a big play and an excellent call because I'm sitting here thinking pass. I'm sure that everybody on both sidelines and certainly the defense on the field is thinking pass. Puts it in Russo's stomach. He's able to get him in position. 3rd and 12 is a manageable number. The last number was 2nd and a whole bunch. No need to call the number out. It was 2nd and a bunch. 3rd and 12 is manageable.
Picked up 10 on that last play. He'll try again. He's got a wall of blockers out there, but the blocking breaks down as they strung the play out. You saw McAleen, you saw Reynolds over there, and Kings Point has held once again, forcing another punt by Iadivio. Iadivio punted 5 times for an average of 38 yards in the first half.
You know, you got to wonder about that play. I think it might have been a halfback pass, and it just didn't develop, and Russo stuck it away.
Back to receive the kick is Andy Quinn, standing back at his own 45-yard line. Iadivio gets a rush. Quinn will have time to return this, but he's driven back to the 33-yard line. Look at all the red shirts around him, and St. John's with excellent coverage on the kick. Mike Brazzello, number 53, and Jeremy Muchler, number 54, corralling him. A 39-yard punt. However, there is another flag on the play. Didn't have too many penalties in the first half, but we're getting a few here early in the second.
How can we have nobody there? Whoa.
Dead ball foul on sportsmanlike conduct against Kings Point. Well, that's a nice 15-yard walk-off. That makes the punt look even better. About a 50-yard punt when you tack on the walk-off.
Well, you can tell that the situation is heating up out there.
Dead ball, unsportsmanlike conduct on the offense. First down and 25.
Now that St. John's defense has come up with 10 fumble recoveries, 14 interceptions. So they forced 24 turnovers. We had an interception and a fumble recovery in this game. And the Mariners start at the 19-yard line, leading 10-0. 11:59 to go here in the third quarter.
First down and a lot.
First and 25. Clock to throw on first down. Throwing for the sideline. A flag is thrown on the play. Ricky Gill was the intended receiver. And Jason Villar was defending. Now, Villar has a neck and shoulder injury. Did not start the game, but he's in there right now. So Bob Ricca pulling out all the stops right now. He needs the experience of Villar, one of his best athletes in there. Penalty is against St. John's. Holding call, defensive holding.
The cornerback was holding the receiver on the out part of an out-and-go pattern and got caught.
Holding on the defense. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Well, that really hurt St. John's because they were 1st and 25. Let's go down to the field. Carl Reuter.
Hey, Mr. Jake. Barry, the late word on Wes Stearns. He hadn't joined the club when they came out for the start of the second half. They were giving him treatments. They were heavily taping that left ankle. John Cavanaugh, the trainer, said he will come out. They will give him some agility tests. If he can go, they'll let him play. If not, he sits it out the rest of the way. Barry.
All right, Carl. Right now it's 1st and 10 at the 29-yard line. Rain is coming down. Clark to throw, has a man open but underthrows him. He was looking for Ricky Gill, and defending on the play was Jason Villar. So it'll be 2nd and 10 up at the 29-yard line. But Beasley, to get back to that last penalty, that really hurt defensive holding in a 1st and 25 situation.
That's the worst thing that could have happened. You think of all the things that could have happened. A defensive holding, a pass interference call, giving them the first down is the absolute worst.
Chris Clark, the junior from Butler, PA. In the rain, will have a 2nd and 10 situation. Libby. Good speed into the secondary, and he picks up the first down. So the sophomore from Pleasantville, New Jersey, picks up 13 yards. Villar and Neve stop him, but the sophomore picks up the first down. Ran that one like Wes Stearns.
He did. He looked very good, and you know there's a lot on his shoulders right now. He's probably been sitting on the bench and watching Stearns all season long, waiting for his opportunity. So he's pumped up.
So we'll see what happens here. Here's a look at the youngster. Clark with another first down here up at the 43-yard line. Libby again. A surge up the middle and pushes forward to pick up about 4 or 5 yards on a play that looked like there wasn't much. There's another flag, I believe, on the play, and a couple of players are hurt. Gasparis limping off the field. So another defensive back for St. John's down, and he goes hard to the ground in agony along the sideline. Milt Gasparis in front of the St. John's bench being attended to right now. 2nd and 5 at the 48-yard line. Carl will try to get a report on Gasparis. St. John's has to go to their 3rd defensive back here. Looking, they're trying to pick on a new guy in there. Villar had good defensive position against Ricky Gill. Ball thrown out of bounds, and it'll set up a 3rd and 5 play.
Well, I tell you, this is a war game. As soon as one goes down, a new guy comes in. They try to.
There's Gasparis being helped up, Beasley.
He hurt his knee. He was grabbing it, rolling it over and over, obviously in a lot of pain.
3rd and 5 at the 48-yard line as Gasparis is being helped to the bench. Fine training crew here at St. John's. Key play here on the drive. Fake. Under pressure, he'll throw, and it'll be nearly picked off. 2 St. John's players fighting for the ball. It was Scott Biter fighting for the ball with Scott Waite. They could have had the interception there.
Well, that was a freebie that got away. Oh, my goodness. 2 guys. You know, they can't see each other. They're concentrating on the ball, and the ball is like honey. It attracts a lot of people.
Well put, Beasley. Enright to punt, standing back at around the 35-yard line. Anthony Iadivio is back to receive the kick. And also back there is Pacetta. Ball will come to Pacetta's side. It'll roll out of bounds. Short kick. Clock will stop with 10:29 to go. And St. John's will have the ball at around the 26-yard line. A 26-yard kick for Enright, one of the shorter kicks he's had this season. He's done an excellent job, averaging over 35 yards a kick. So St. John's trailing 10-0 with 10:29 to go here in the 3rd quarter. Broadway is in the ball game right now as the fullback. Russo is the tailback. They have really shut down Anthony Russo so far in this game. Fake to Russo. Bannon rolling left. Looking, he'll have to run himself. Has about 4 tough yards and is down at around the 32-33-yard line. Steve Brody, the nose tackle, and Jim Holly, the linebacker, combining on the stop.
They're trying to get the ball to Jeff Long. They just the problem is the plays that they're calling for him take so long to develop that they're just not able to get the play off. The pocket is collapsing, and Bannon is having to improvise.
Art Costello in the ballgame at fullback, replacing Chuck Broadway. 2nd and 5 for the Redmen. Russo up the middle, nothing at all. Maybe a yard as he tries to fall forward. And I'll tell you, they're really missing Anthony Capek. We haven't talked about his loss that much in this game, but they're just not opening holes. They always run to his side when they need the big yards. He was 265, and the Mariner defense awfully quick at that line of scrimmage, and they're just not opening up the holes.
He broke his foot last week, almost at the end of the game. Bad anytime you break your foot. So far, Kings Point is winning the battle.
3rd and 4, and the ball batted down. Ed Mackerly, the captain, he's got the size at 6'2", knocking it down. And the Redmen will punt once again. It'll be their 7th punt of the night.
They're not even slowing Kings Point down. The Mariners are just flying through there. It's got to be very frustrating for the quarterback, and I'm sure it's frustrating for the lineman also. But man, that's you lose that battle, you don't have a chance.
From our end zone camera, Ivevio stepping forward, and the lefty drives this one downfield. It'll be taken inside the 25 by Quinn. He's had some excellent returns. Has a fine one going here and picks up about 12 yards on the return. Jeremy Muchler finally brought him down, but this Andy Quinn, a sophomore from Camden, New Jersey, showing good speed and great agility on those punt returns.
He's using his blocking very well. He's getting good help from his teammates, and psychologically what this is doing to the Redmen is devastating. I'm sure that they went in at the half and talked about how much the punt returns are hurting the overall plan. And for him to come back in the second half and get another good return has got to be devastating.
Again, good field position for the Mariners up at the 38-yard line. Clark, a shovel pass inside. Russell will pick up 5. That play was an effective play, gaining a first down in the first half. That little shovel pass, it's a dangerous pass, although it's a forward pass, so if the receiver doesn't hang on to it, it would be called a pass. It wouldn't be a fumble.
Exactly. Lambright, number 79, almost made the tackle there, but a nice spinning move by Russell.
Russell has caught 3 Bs for a total of 19 yards. He's picked up 5.
Off to a good game so far.
That's Spears in motion. On the ground to Libby. And good surge by the Redmen. Stopped them right at the line of scrimmage. Scott Biter getting in quickly with Rich Colangelo, the linebackers. That's the strength of this St. John's defense. Those linebackers, Colangelo, Biter, O'Grady, and Volpe. 3rd and 4 for the Redmen. Want that ball back with 7:58 to go. Trailing 10-0 here in the 3rd quarter. 3 flankers wide to the right. Clark looking that way, has time, up the middle now, has a man open, but it's going to be picked off as he underthrew it. Picked off by Waite. Scott Waite running the ball back to the 41-yard line. He had a man open, but underthrew it, kind of lobbed it up there, and the freshman, Scott Waite, coming up with the interception, and there is a flag on the play, however, back in the backfield. The referee talking things over right now. St. John's a little concerned on the sideline. Holding. And a clip.
Just clipping them. Play over.
Now St. John's should get the ball here, and they'll have to mark off the clip because the St. John's penalty came after the interception.
Right. They call it holding.
So they'll cost St. John's some yardage. The ball is spotted at the 40. They'll probably move it back 15 to the 25, but wow. That hurts St. John's. They've not had good field position in this game at all.
And every time they make a great play, there's some type of a penalty that kind of takes the edge off.
We have holding on the offensive team. Decline.
We have clipping on the run back by the receiving team, the intercepting team. We have 15-yard penalty and a first down for the red team.
Bob Rick's face tells it a little exasperation.
Oh, my goodness. He's got to be upset. Just a post pattern here, lifts it up. You got to put a lot on that ball right now, though. The air is a little bit wet, a little heavy. Kind of floats in. The free safety playing center field. Sits underneath the ball. Now, the last time the Redmen had a great opportunity, it was unsportsmanlike conduct that knocked 10 off, 15 off.
O'Grady is in
again.
Tight end B's as they've got Long and Iadivio as flankers. Backs are split. Bannon to throw on first down. Has pressure. Brody after him, and he throws it away. Could be a grounding, and we're going to get an intentional grounding. Boy, that young Steve Brody, the sophomore from Farrell High School on Staten Island, a transfer from Keene College, was coming like a freight train, and Bannon just threw it away and got nailed for it. So that will cost them the down plus yardage. Everything going wrong for Sean Bannon right now. Looks like his elbow might be banged up a little.
Well, they've got a little bit of everything going on here, and once again, they are totally unable to stop the penetration. They kept the tight end in, kept one of the backs in, and still unable to block. It looks like they added a holding penalty to this whole thing here as they try to sort out what to do.
It's only the 10th sack of the year for the Redmen. They've done a good job protecting.
Wiped off a receiver in the area. We have a hold on the offensive team. 10-yard penalty.
The second penalty.
First down.
Made against St. John's.
Well, it comes out as a break for St. John's. Instead of losing the down plus yardage, they end up using the yardage.
Break, but they are still moving in reverse every time they get a major opportunity.
They got to go 20 yards for a first down here. First and 20 at the 20-yard line. Make it the 15-yard line. By the ground and falling forward, picking up yardage was Charlie Broadway. Kevin Kirby, the tackler, picked up about 6 on the play, gives him a little breathing room on 2nd and 14 with 7:15 to go.
You know, Broadway is enjoying a little success, and I think primarily because the defensive line is penetrating so quickly that if they call the right hole, it's kind of a luck thing, kind of a chess play thing. If they call the right hole, he's popping through for 4 or 5, and of course, you know, he had the 154 yards.
He's gained 63 yards in 4 carries. From our camera, you see it. Bannon throwing, and it is going to be complete shy of the first down. White shirts wrapping the receiver, Jeff Long, and you had Richie Reynolds and Harold Krebs in the area, but Jeff Long, who had 8 receptions last week, 2 for touchdowns, catches only his 2nd pass of this evening.
Well, what they have to do is shorten the patterns that they're calling for Long because they don't have the time to run anything past 5-10 yards. And that's what they did that time, and they came up with a good little game.
3rd and 2 for the Redmen. With 6:20 to go, 3rd quarter down by 10. Russo trying to get the first down, and he has stopped, it appears, shy, maybe by a half yard. Again, the nose tackle, Steve Brody, coming up with an outstanding play. And give credit to this defensive line, Bill Amaral, who came over from Syracuse University, has installed this 50 defense, and they have just done a tremendous job the last 3 games in particular.
Well, what do you do here? You're looking at 4th and 1. You're down 10-0. You need to do something to get your offense to feeling like they have some self-worth. They got to feel so down right now, unable to do anything positive.
Well, the decision will come now as they measure. It gives them a chance to talk it over. Coach Rosato, the offensive coordinator, you can see they are short by about the length of the football, so it's about a half a yard or less.
Well, this is a man-sized offensive call right here.
They're going for it, folks. Now, with Russo, you'd figure they'd be able to get it with the kind of runner that he's been all year, but they have shut him down.
Well, the message you send to your offensive line is, look, you've been getting beat up all night long. This is it, my friend. The ball game could rest on this one. We don't make this, and they come back and score, and the blood is on your hands.
4th and inches at the 35-yard line. Out of the eye. Straight ahead and trying to get the first down as Bannon. It looks like his surge carried him across the 35. That's all he had to get. And it should be enough for the first down as they mark his forward progress at around the 36-yard line. So Bannon behind the center, Mike Rosillo, and guard Mike Edney picks up the first down. Now Broadway checks back in the ballgame. Russo will lead. Ball at the 36-yard line. 1st and 10 for St. John's, trailing 10-0. Wes Stearns with a 24-yard run. Bob Enright with a 22-yard field goal, accounting for all the scoring in this one. Broadway slashing and trying to spin forward, but they've gotten very few yards up the middle against this Kings Point defense.
Very few. You've got, there's certain plays that you run that force the defensive line to stop being so aggressive. Quick passes, quick outs, quick hitting plays or screen plays, things that will force the defensive line to start to question how fast they should try to come across the line. Maybe they should think about those type of plays.
2nd and 8 for the Redmen. Under 5 minutes to go here in the third. Looks like an audible being called here, and their little mix-up in St. John's, not sure, will be forced to call a timeout. They would have been out of time on the clock. It was down to about a second left on the 25-second clock. Timeout. And now the entire offense was headed to the sideline to talk things over, but I think they've got the play in hand, so Bob Ricka says, go out there, guys. Let's get it straight. Don't forget, next week you'll see the Redmen in a big Liberty Conference showdown against CW Post. Well, I'm anxious to see the Post Pioneers. You and Carl did the game, and they've been the only team to give Hofstra any real trouble this year. They lost by 12 in that game, and nobody else has been losing by anything less than 30 points to them.
That's right.
And there it is. Next week at 1:30, it'll be homecoming at Post, and expect a big crowd on hand over in Brookville.
Should be fun.
Tom Marshall has the Pioneers playing superb defensively. Of course, they've got the great running attack. Shanahan and DeLillo have done a good job, and both quarterbacks, Carino and Vega, have come up big late. And they've got a big game against Iona tomorrow. Now, should St. John's lose, that's going to be very interesting as far as the Liberty Conference race is concerned. Iona's only loss in the conference came against St. John's. So that one, you can figure that both teams are figuring and hoping that St. John's loses this game to Kings Point.
They're probably watching us right now.
And as you see, we have a timeout right here as they discuss things on the sideline. Mariners gathered around little Dennis Barrett. What a great coach he's been. At the Merchant Marine Academy, which is not an easy place to coach with all the academic requirements. There's Sean Bannon. And I think Bob Ricka has decided on what's going to happen. Liberty standings, as you see, St. John's and Post right up there. And, of course, Iona, Kings Point, they've got a shot. So here we go, 2nd and 8 at the 38-yard line. Let's see if the Redmen can come up with a big play here. Russo trying to turn outside, in trouble, cuts back, and out of nothing, able to get 2 or 3 yards, but he had to do it dancing and prancing over there.
I'll tell you, how he made that cut is beyond me. That was a 90-degree cut, running almost full speed. Great cut.
Kirby and Holly on the tackle. Keep an eye on 41 and 47.
And take a look at the pursuit here. Look at this.
Mackerly.
His man, Mackerly. Now you got 2 or 3 people coming. That's just a super cut right there to get back inside on that one. I tell you, that was special.
3rd and 6 for the Redmen. Bannon looking over the middle and coughing up the football was Russo. They're going to rule it incomplete. At the 41-yard line, the ball was dropped. And again, the Mariners have held. That's the one area that they had hoped that Russo would improve. He has not caught a pass all year, and they had hoped that his hands would be good. Had the ball, just could not hang on once he got hit.
Very few people would have hung on to that one. That was a pretty good defensive play.
Iadivio punting it away, and it'll be bouncing out of bounds. Richie Reynolds watch it go out at around the 27-yard line. And Russo, who can take a lot of pops, gets popped right here, as you'll see.
Yeah, he's probably, like you said, they've been talking to him about catching the ball. He's probably concentrating so hard on catching it. That's just a great helmet in the right spot. Good little pop.
Well, the Mariners defense has shut out opponents for almost 12 quarters.
You know, that little punt that dribbled out of bounds there at the 27-yard line might not be a bad deal. Just kick it out of bounds.
St. John's has never been shut out in varsity football dating back to 1978 when they started. A little misdirection here and misdirection in the backfield. Coming up big on the play, Matt Libby is stopped by Ray Lambright and Rich Colangelo.
Well, that's what they needed. They needed Colangelo finished it off just perfectly, snuffing out any possibility of somebody breaking a tackle. And that's what they needed as a defense, I tell you, to get everything going. Counter, steps to the right, comes back to the tickle. Look at that play, and then look at that. That's the kiss of the death there.
Boy, Lambright got him real quick. Slowed him down.
Quick, Colangelo kissing him off.
St. John's defense has done a good job here in the second half. Their offense still unable to get on track. 3.5 minutes to go. Third quarter, Marin is leading 10-0. Clock to the sideline, off the hand of Ronnie Gill. Setting up a third down play. Steve Neves was defending.
That's giving a little bit of their own medicine out there by the Redmen. Number 69, Carl Volpe, in there with hands up in the air, forcing the high throw, the overthrow, scaring the quarterback to death. That's what Bannon has been facing all night long.
Clark's number is 12 for 26, 156 yards, 2 interceptions. And on 3rd and 13, let's see if they put it in the air. Clark will. Now he throws, and is it going to be an interception? No, they rule it incomplete. Up and around the 43-yard line, Scott Wade looking for his second interception of the night.
Well, that's one of the best defenses in the world when you get some people coming at the quarterback's face. Now, he had a little time, but the pocket was collapsing all around him. He started to get a little happy feet and just let one go.
At right, punting for the 4th time, has averaged close to 33 yards a punt. Iadivio and Frazetta are deep inside the 40-yard line to receive the kick. And it will be taken at the 41-yard line. Iadivio to midfield, bounces off a couple of tackles and driven down. So St. John's will have good field position. One of the few times tonight they will start with good field position. Matt Stewart brought him down. Redmen needing points desperately, trailing 10-0. Will have it at the 47-yard line. Sean Bannon and Chuck Broadway race out of the field. Well, Bannon last week was 15 for 25, 145 yards and 3 touchdowns. But so far tonight, he has not had a good evening. Play action pass, has time, looking deep for Long, and Long wrestling for it. It's going to be picked off by the Mariners once again. Excellent defensive play. Harold Krebs with his second interception of the night. And Bob Ricca and Coach Rosado shake their heads and say it's going to be another long night here.
Hey, what can you say about that, really? I mean, that's just a great play. He kind of reached his arm around and pulled the ball away from Long. You can't get any better than that. And look at this. Bannon actually had some time this time. Look, he's all alone, steps back, lifts it up. Now, Long tries to give it. Look at, jumps over his back like so many great receivers do to defensive backs. That's good to see.
You would appreciate that one, Beasley. Reese Harold Krebs, one of the best safeties in Division II. Oh, by Neves. He's going to go for the touchdown. Wow. Steve Neves gives St. John's what they desperately need, a big play. And just like that, the Redmen have some points. It's a 10-6 ball game. An 18-yard return for Steve Neves, his second interception of the game. And the Redmen defense has done it once again as they've done it all year.
Talk about a timely effort. Now, Neves has done it when it comes to run support. He has done it when it comes to hitting. He is a tough little cookie, and he shows here that he can also play the ball. What perfect timing. What anticipation. Just a perfect play at the right time, just when they needed it.
That old bugaboo for Chris Clark, the interception coming up now. He's thrown interceptions the last 2 times he's had the ball. 3rd one of the game. And the Redmen now trail 10-6. They're going to go for 2 here.
Well, like
that's how little faith they have in the kicking game.
If you can kick, go to St. John.
Long going in motion. Play action. Bannon rolling. He's going to try to get it himself, and he's in the end end zone. He got a great block along the way.
Oh, man, whoever that was that got blocked, he has no idea what just happened there.
Vince O'Grady, number 39, threw a block there that gave Bannon enough time to get to the corner. And just like that, we've got a 10-8 ball game as the Redmen strike with 2:54 to go in the third quarter.
Very interesting numbers on the board at 10-8. Now let's take a look at this. Little fake there. They're figuring pass. Bannon sees that it's wide open. Let's see if we can see this block coming up. Watch. Whoa! Great block there to kind of clear out a little traffic. Bannon tippy-toeing inside the little strike.
Not known for his running, Sean Bannon comes up with a 2-point extra point. Second time he's had a 2-point conversion. And the Redmen defense comes up and gives St. John's a much-needed lift. Richie Reynolds will be back to take the kick. 2:54 to go. St. John's trailing 10-8 now.
Now, if the Redmen plan to get back into this thing, they should be covering this kick like a bunch of wild men. They need to make a statement right here, go down here and nail the returner, come up with a good defensive effort. This is a great opportunity to swing the momentum.
Short kick by Castilli, taking it around the 17-yard line. This is Beers. Beers to the 30, 35, and is down as he gets to the 36-yard line. Now, who needs announcers anyway?
Woo! Boy, that's the sights and sounds of football.
And Sean Bannon.
Those helmets cracking and shoulder pads popping and people going woo. Woo!
We've got a new quarterback in the game. Larry Redmen has replaced Chris Clark right now. Number 14. Redmen started the season, threw 5 interceptions against Coast Guard. And this is Matt Libby wrestled down after he picked up about 3. Carl Volpe on the tackle. St. John's now has scored in 128 consecutive games. And St. John's 3 for 3 on 2-point conversions. There's Chris Clark.
I want to tell you something. His mind is racing a million miles a minute right now. He's trying to figure out what in the world is going on. Just been benched. Oh, my goodness.
Redmen 24 for 49, 49%, 256 yards, 1 touchdown, and 6 interceptions this year. Libby tries to go straight ahead, picks up about 3. It'll set up a 3rd down play. Biter and Colangelo and Cunningham all combined to make the tackle. Redmond's a senior, and as we pointed out, the first game of the year, it beat out the junior quarterback Clark for the starting assignment in the Coast Guard game, and knows the offense, knows the run and shoot, has a little more experience.
Well, the only thing he needs to control right now is his own psyche, his own head. You know, he needs to be focused in on nothing but the game. I don't want to make a mistake because I don't want to be pulled. He needs to concentrate on the business of him.
3rd and 1. Libby will not get the first down. In the backfield was O'Grady and Neves. Great penetration by the Redmen.
Well, they're passing out a little of King Point's medicine this time. That's the type of situation that the Redmen have faced on offense all night. Look at all the red shirts in the backfield and people spinning and grabbing. Whoa, celebration time.
Enright to kick for the 5th time. He's averaged 35 yards. Iadivio and Frazetta back for St. John's at the 20. Plenty of time. Enright high kick, not very long, but it could bounce on this AstroTurf. Takes a St. John's bounce, and wisely, Birch Marine Academy will down the ball at the 34-yard line. A 23-yard kick for Enright, who has shanked him the last couple of times. And St. John's will have good field position.
There is Wes Stearns.
On crutches.
On crutches with a big bubble of ice around his ankle. Feeling helpless right now, wanting to help his buddies out. And meanwhile, opportunity knocks for the Redmen.
Stearns gained 55 yards in the first half in rushing and has the only touchdown in this game for the Mariners. St. John's trailing by 3, under a minute to go. First half, Bannon in trouble, chased by Brody. Trying to screen it out. Good catch over there by Costello, or by O'Grady. And it was O'Grady coming up with the ball, and he is tackled after a loss of 2 on the play.
O'Grady, semi-two-way away man.
On the tackle.
Playing a little tight end there, making a nice catch.
I'll tell you, Bees, on a hot night like tonight, that's got to take a lot out of you.
You know, it does, but at the same time, you know, that kid is so young and so tough, he doesn't care.
This could be the final play of the third quarter. Under 20 seconds to go. Dennis Barrett pacing the sidelines. 15 seconds left. Bannon to the near side. Broadway will not get away as he is dragged down over there. Trey Rasmussen, number 13, wrapped him up. He wouldn't let him get away. And Mark Brocker.
You know, that's the screenplay that we're talking about, something that'll slow the rush. You know, allow those guys to come in there and then screen behind them a couple of times.
And on that play, that's the end of the third quarter. We've got a break in the action. In the fourth quarter, they trail by 2. Bannon looking up the middle for Long. He's out there, and he makes the catch for a first down. Wow. 2 defenders, Richie Reynolds and Harold Krebs, were there, but Jeff Long, using all of his height at 6'2", pulled it down.
That's the jump ball they've been trying to connect on all day long. Oh, my goodness, just good position. Everybody in there, 36-yard gain. He's got time. What is that, Bannon says. He lifts it up high. And take a look at Long. Kind of backs in. Look at that. Oh, man, that's just perfect position and a great catch.
There he had the 5'7" defender.
Exactly, backed in.
Krebs was a little bit upfield on the play. It had been Krebs at 6'2". Might not have been able to catch that ball. Krebs is a great defender. Both he and Neves, 2 of the best safeties around. Here's the pitch to Russo. Inside the 30, and he puts his head, lowers his head to the 28-yard line. McAleen and Krebs on the tackle.
Well, we've got an interesting little scenario developing right here. Great opportunity for St. John's coming on. Look at Barrett. Oh, my goodness.
Dennis wanted this one badly. There's no question about it. They remembered last year's 65-45 loss. They felt that perhaps St. John's had kept their starters in too long and ran up the score. 2nd and 5. Russo's gained 60 yards and 19 carries. Little counter here, and Broadway is tripped up in the backfield. And to set up a third down play. Good move by Ed McAleen, getting into the backfield, breaking up that little counter play. So the clock ticks here with 1 minute 20 seconds gone of the fourth quarter. Broadway leaves. Art Costello will come in at fullback. What do you look for on this play, Bees? Third, about 6.5.
3rd and 6.5, you got to figure. Well, let me see the formation. Ididio's got a little room out to the right. Split backfield. They may be going maximum protection and blocking. Yes, they are.
And looking, he's got Iadidio out there, but overthrew him. He had beaten Reynolds on the play, had the step or 2 on him, but Bannon just couldn't get the ball to him.
Well, the only thing that I don't like about the offensive lineup, if I can sit here and kind of figure out what's going to... They don't really run split formation very much unless they're going maximum protection. They don't go maximum protection unless they're trying to get the ball downfield. So, they had it, though, like you said. I mean, just didn't really connect.
This time, Iadidio and Long line up wide to the right. First time they've been there.
We got the possibility for the same situation off the slot. Maximum protection.
Long comes back in motion to the short side. Flag on the play. A lot of flags. Bannon looking deep for Iadidio. Overthrows him. Good coverage that time on the part of Richie Reynolds. However, there are flags all over the field. That was 4th and 6.
That was big.
And St. John's committing an illegal formation.
Right.
And doesn't matter anyway. Even if they had connected on the play, it would have come back.
Illegal motion on the offensive team is declined. First down.
So St. John's unable to take advantage of that field position.
You know, defensive players start saying weird things in this situation. They start saying things like, well, the heck with it, guys, let's do it ourselves. If they can't get it done, let's do it ourselves. We score once, let's get something going. Somebody make a play.
Larry Redmen is still in the ball game at quarterback. He replaced Chris Clark late in the third quarter. Second series for Redmen. A senior from Tottenham High School in Staten Island. Libby nearly fumbled the ball as he took the handoff, but runs strong up the middle and picks up about 5 yards before he was taken down by Rich Colangelo and Carl Volpe.
You know, Libby so far has stood up pretty well to a little test that he's got going here. There's Mr. Long.
Jeff Long, nice catch with that big catch, but St. John's unable to take advantage of his fine catch. Gave him good field position. 2nd and 4. Keep it on the ground for Libby. He is stopped at the line of scrimmage. Frank Pawlowski, the senior from North Massapequa on Long Island with the tackle.
I've been sitting here trying to figure out why all of a sudden the St. John's line has been able to make some plays and stand its own and kind of snuff things out a little bit. I don't see any change in anything but attitude. It's like they've kind of realized that this is it, and they've started to play.
3rd and 3. Rick Gill going in motion. St. John's looking to blitz. Redmen will keep on the option. And let's see where they mark his forward progress. Close to the first down. He dove. Pawlowski on the tackle. They're going to probably bring the chains in. That's how close it is on this measurement. Chains, of course, on the far side.
Interesting play they just ran. They sent motion to one side. They'll take a timeout and pull the chains out. Ran a motion in one direction, kind of a decoy situation, loaded up on the wide side of the field, and then came back with an option. Quarterback kept the option. May have, or may not have, first down.
And they will bring the chains in. Clock stop with 11:53 to go. Barry Landers along with Beasley Reese and Carl Reuter. Kings Point leading St. John's 10-8 early here in the 4th quarter. As we'll watch to see if they made it. And yes, they did make it. So Larry Redmen gives the Mariners 4 more downs here as they pick up the first down at the 41-yard line. Give credit to this Kings Point team without Wes Stearns, their brilliant running back who suffered a left leg injury in the first half. And without their starting quarterback, Chris Clark, unable to do the job, throwing some costly interceptions, they still lead in this game. Libby has gained 40 yards and 12 carries. Rick Gill in motion. Libby got a turn outside, but won't get anything. A loss of about a yard on the play. Rich Colangelo and Scott Biter, 2 of those outstanding linebackers, made the play.
And see, plays like that have nothing to do with Wes Stearns being out now. I mean, that's just a defensive line making penetration, outmaneuvering the offensive line, and that certainly was not the case in the first half. It seems like all of a sudden, Redmen defensive line is starting to stand up to the challenge.
Now the defense has come up with 4 turnovers. They're blitzing now. Redmen gives it to Libby, and again, Biter on the tackle. Boy, was there some banging going on.
That's that Stearns guy, and they're cleaning stuff up. Everybody had him. Well, holding him up, and then Stearns comes in and kind of puts the little exclamation point on the end of it.
Scott Biter with that big hit, number 57. He's the 6'1", 215-pound junior.
And that's a lot of big hit. 215.
He was ECAC Liberty Conference Player of the Week a couple of weeks ago. Now a big 3rd down play again, this time 3rd and 8. And it looks like we're going to get a timeout taken here by Kings Point. With 10:27 to go, and
they were simply out of time. There was about 6 seconds left on the amount of time that they had to snap that ball, and I'm sure Mr. Redmen realized he couldn't get the play off. I'd like to see him throw the ball. He's yet to back up and try to heave one in his new position as the quarterback. Not a new position, one he once owned, and
try to get it back.
Kind of lost, and has an opportunity here to get it back.
10:27 to go here in the 4th quarter. Kings Point holding on to a very tenuous 10-8 lead, a 2-point edge.
This would be a tremendous feather in the cap of the Redmen if they were able to continue to work very hard.
All right, Bees, Saturday, it's Division I college football as Coach Lou Holtz leads the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame against the Air Force Academy. Notre Dame trying to bounce back from the loss against Stanford, taking on the Air Force. Saturday at 1, live and exclusive on Sports Channel America. Sports Channel America, not available in all areas. Don't forget our game next week. These Redmen against the CW Post Pioneers, 1:30, October the 20th, next Saturday, homecoming at Post. 3rd and 8. Redmen has time, and he throws Gill with a diving catch at the 43-yard line. Ricky Gill with a catch. Rich Colangelo made the tackle, but a well-thrown ball. No chance for an interception there as Gill went down and just clutched that ball once he got it.
Well, it was a courageous effort by Redmen, the quarterback. He was under pressure, hit as he released the ball, still made a nice little strike, and when you're throwing the ball to the inside, you want it low and away, and that's exactly where the ball was.
3rd reception for Ricky Gill, who had only 6 coming in. He's the fastest player on the team. Libby diving inside the 40 to around the 39-yard line on a quick hitter. Pawlowski and Colangelo on the tackle. 2 big 3rd down plays by the Mariners. Redmen on the run and the big pass here.
And Redmen working both of them, as you said, and that's great for his confidence. He's starting to move a little differently now. When he first came in, you could see kind of a question mark look on his face, but he's moving like he's the quarterback now.
Dennis Barrett facing those sidelines again. 2nd and 7. Here's coming in motion. Libby again stacked up as he got to the line of scrimmage, fell forward. Small hole. Scott Biter brought him down. Boy, Biter's had a lot of tackles. One of the best in the Liberty Conference. Came in leading tackler to St. John's with 45 tackles. Wow. Ball inside the 40 at the 39, and here we are again, Beasley, with another big 3rd down play. Mariners have converted their last 2, and now they'll bring in Quinn and Russell, a couple of wide receivers from the sideline as you look at the St. John's linebacking crew. Tough Rich Colangelo. Ball at the 41, 3rd and 6. Redmen, O'Grady in his face, he throws, it's going to, should have been picked off by Scott Biter. One of those cases of he was off and winging before he caught the ball.
He was already down the sideline. He was, in his mind, he was gone. Oh my goodness gracious. You see this thing coming at you, just look at this. Oh, it's tipped a little bit. Oh, just a
hit him in the numbers.
O'Grady with the tip there. He tipped it a little bit and knocked it off.
Great pressure by O'Grady. Enright to kick. Standing back and around midfield. Frazetta and Iadivio to get the kick. St. John's tries for a block. High kick, not very far, but it'll go out of bounds inside the 20 at around the 18-yard line. So the Redmen take over 1st and 10 inside the 20. Trailing by 2 points with 8:36 to go here in the 4th quarter. Sean Bannon will bring his club out. We'll give you his numbers in a moment. Bannon 10 for 25 for just 80 yards, and he's had 2 picked off. Now Bannon racing on to into the huddle. David Rangeli is in at tight end. Long wide to the left against Reynolds, so they've got a good matchup here. See if Reynolds gets help from Sasso at the bottom of your picture. Bannon under pressure and wrestled down by John Morganti, number 72.
Now, I'm going to tell you something. Something really strange just happened. Bannon was expecting to hand the ball to a running back on a draw play, and there was nobody back there.
What a frightening thought.
Whoa.
And here's John Morganti, the senior from Holy Cross High School nearby Ozone Park.
Now take a look at this. Watch. Now he's going back. Oh, my goodness gracious.
Wow. Art Costello in the ball game right now. Charles Broadway is out. Flags all over the place.
Well, look at this.
On 2nd and 18, looked like Rangali, the tight end, was moving for Bob Ricker's club.
Now, when the coaches, and speaking of the coaches,
illegal procedure.
When the coaches take a look at the films, they're going to see 3 series where the Redmen went in reverse.
Dead ball, encroachment on the offense. Still 2nd down.
Was that on sound?
2nd and 23.
And they just say 2nd and a bunch.
Redmen have to go to about the 29-yard line. Can't be backed up much further than this.
No. Okay, and some people licking their chops right now.
Bannon looking. Looking. Throws up the middle. It is complete to Russo. Short gain. Will get it across the 10 to about the 11, about an 8-yard pickup. Mark Brocker on the tackle along with John Ullman. 7:35 to go here in the fourth quarter. St. John's faced with a third and about 16.
And Harold Krebs, number 18, the safety, is probably licking his fingers and saying, man, I could get number 3 and be a real hero here, because they're going to have to put it up unless they decide to just get a little of it.
Bannon looking left. Looking. Complete to Russo out of the backfield. Breaks one tackle. He's got the first down. Russo to the 35-yard line.
That was major.
Wow. So the guy who dropped one earlier comes up with the biggest play of the game for St. John's, and he pulled away from a couple of guys.
Just a little delay play. One missed tackle. There's kind of 1.5.
Larry Persina had a shot at him. 22-yard pickup and finally brought down.
Big play.
So the Redmen are up at the 34-yard line. 6:50 to go, fourth quarter. They trail by 2. Bannon going for the sideline to Long. He's out there along with Richie Reynolds, and Reynolds had a better shot at it. In and out of his hands. Clock stops with 6:42 to go. 2nd and 10 coming up from the 34-yard line.
Although Jeff Long has some impressive numbers, he's got a couple of things he's got to learn about playing receiver. When you get in that situation and you feel like you can't make the catch, you got to turn into a defensive man. And once he knew he couldn't catch that, he should have been slapping away at that young man's hands right there. That was close.
Bannon with time. As a man out of the backfield, Russo hangs on to the ball, goes to the first down and fumbles the football, and looks like Kings Point has it. The indication is that they've got it. Right here. And yes, indeed, they come up with the ball. Kevin Kirby, number 41, with the hit, and Mark Brocker, number 45, appears to have the football over there, or Kirby. It is Kirby.
What do we got?
And Russo, who had trouble hanging on earlier, coughs up the football. Not a bad choice to go to the guy who can make the big play for you. What a hit there by Brocker, 45.
Oh, man, I almost dropped what I'm holding up here when I heard that. Man, that was a hit. You can't say enough about the way Kings Point is attacking the ball.
You love those defensive guys, don't you?
Well, I tell you, that's beautiful.
6.5 minutes to go. Libby didn't have the speed to go outside. He was being pulled by O'Grady and finally hit by Colangelo, bringing him down. Clock continues to move, 6:18 to go.
O'Grady has played some football tonight.
Oh, he is
both sides of the ball.
A premier player in the Liberty Conference.
He must have some big lungs. I tell you, he very rarely walks off the football field.
And I'll tell you, on a night like tonight, as humid and warm as it is tough for the player.
Man.
2nd and 8. St. John's wants the ball back. 5:50 to go. Kings Point with a 2-point lead and the ball. Libby stopped after pickup of around 3 or 4. Mike Cunningham, the nose tackle, bringing him down. The St. John's bench concerned. Bob Ricker said, hey, we're 5-0. We're a little fortunate to be 5-0. We haven't played all that well. They're really being tested right now. That 5-0 streak very much on the line right here. 3rd and 5. Chris Ketterer to the left, and now Larry Redmen will exercise a timeout. You know, Beasley, we talked about this team not giving up a touchdown. You have to go back to the 3rd quarter of the CW postgame to go back to the last time this team gave up a touchdown. And in that game, it was an interception that Chris Clark threw. So they haven't had a touchdown scored on the defense for about 12 quarters.
Wow.
All right, I'm a little concerned about the middle, too.
A little tough to pick up Dennis Barrett on the sideline as he talks things over with Larry Redmen.
He wasn't in the play calling mode yet. He was in the conversation with whoever's in the booth up here, up high, next to us. He was talking about what his concerns were, what he was worried about.
41 track past the right. Make sure you make a great fake, get wide. If you have to do anything, throw it out of bounds.
Play it safe.
Well, the instructions are clear. Obviously,
doesn't want an interception here.
Obviously, play action pass. So he wants him to sell it. He wants him to sell it like he's a salesman trying to make a big deal. Sell the play action, pull it out. If it's not there, throw it away.
Quinn going in motion. Play action. Got Robinson blocking over there. He's in trouble. He'll throw it to the sideline away. He followed instructions there. He was in trouble.
Good job.
And threw it away. That'll stop the clock. 5:08 to go, and St. John's will get the ball back for at least one more time. They have not been able to score an offensive touchdown all night. Their only score came on a pass interception by Steve Neves.
Well, this is that classic angle the punt out of bounds situation. If this can be completed, it would be impressive, and it would give St. John a lot of real estate to cover.
And Wright's done a good job all year doing that. Squibs this to the far side. It'll go inside the 20, inside the 15, and St. John's will have 85 yards to pay dirt. So that's the 7th time that he's gotten punts inside the 20-yard line, Mr. Enright. And we talked about the kicking game perhaps being the difference. His field goal right now, and could be the difference.
Very true. He has done a good job. That was a super punt right there. And man, talk about a challenge. 5 minutes and 1 second, down by 2 points, 85 yards ago.
And again, St. John's does not have the kicker to attempt the field goal from far out beyond the 15 or 20-yard line.
They may have to let somebody kick it.
Gannon looking to throw. It's deflected on the way. Ed Mackerline got a hand on the ball. Vince O'Grady was the intended receiver.
Look at the look on Bannon's face there, like, oh my God, like, what can I do? Huh. Take a look at this. Now, this is a quick pattern. This is a 3-step drop, 90 series. 1, 2, 3. He still doesn't have time. I tell you, Kings Point, from a defensive line perspective, has been impressive.
Absolutely. Bannon with time, looking for a man out of the backfield. It's O'Grady with the catch at the 25-yard line. They can't bring him down. A little delay by the tight end there. And Rob Sasso and Jim Holly couldn't bring him down. They slowed him down, and the whistle blew. He is one tough kid indeed.
He's ready to fight just because the guys tried to tackle.
Picked up the first down with that extra little fight.
Take a look at this.
He says, I'm open.
Good hands. Okay, they stop him. Now remember, he's playing defense, offense, everything. There's 4 guys. 1, 2, 3, 4 guys can't bring him to the ground. Tough guy, O'Grady.
Third reception for O'Grady. 1st and 10 at the 26-yard line. 4:25 to go, 4th quarter. Gannon in trouble, and Mackerline takes him down. Ed Mackerline broke through Mike Robinson trying to block him as he beat the fullback on the block. Steve Brody also was in on the play.
Well, we may have a story brewing here. That was a big, big play. A team that's 2-2 on the season against a team that's 5-0. Take a look at, there's a pocket developing, but instead of stepping up into the pocket, well, I see why he didn't. There's 58 breathing down on him very, very quickly. Steve Brody.
And in trouble again, taken down once again at Mackerline. Bannon taken down inside the 10-yard line as the fired-up Kings Point defense is doing it once again. Not getting any protection at all. Steve Brody, Jim Holly, also in on that play. 3:27 to go. 3rd and 31.
Oh, no. 3rd and a plethora. 3rd and a bunch. 3rd and a piece of Manhattan. What do you pull out here? I mean, if you're playing golf, you got to try to tee it up and pull the drive.
Well, this is St. John's. How about a few prayers here? They'll go deep. Bannon looking, way overthrown, and Richie Reynolds reaching for it. Wisely did not intercept it. Tommy Lenahan was out there.
Wow, what a tough situation.
And so Sean Bannon unable to do the job. 3:04 to go. And St. John's forced to punt from their own end zone. And the Merchant Marine Academy will have excellent field position on this punt.
The only thing Kings Point has to do to cap this thing off is block this punt. They have been so dominant.
Idevio, high snap, sails it upfield. Quinn takes it on the run. 30-yard line, and Kantrowitz pulls him down. Scott Kantrowitz, number 30, wrestled him down. So, with 2:54 to go, St. John's will have to try to stop him here. Timeout should be taken here. We'll wait and see. We'll check the timeout situation for you. And Bees, I think you've just gotten the information on timeout.
Yeah, St. John's has 2 remaining. They've got 2 minutes and 54 to work with. So there's plenty of time if they make 3 good plays here to get another opportunity.
The defense has done the job, but poor field position. They're not giving the ball. Libby, they'll try to strip him. They stop him. Will they call timeout here? Clock ticking, and now St. John's will call a timeout. The officials have stopped the clock. The Redmen now left with 1 timeout. Reminder that next week, Beasley and I will be on hand at CW Post College next Saturday as the CW Post Pioneers. We're hoping that St. John's gets knocked off tonight. We'll take on the St. John's Redmen. It'll be homecoming there. And hope that you'll join us for that game. Don't forget, later on, we've got Wagner, their fine club. Walt Hemline's got him playing very well. You'll see Greg Harris, one of the top running backs in the East, taking on CW Post. And these St. John's Redmen will close out our season late in November as they take on Hofstra. Anxious to see Hofstra again, Beasley. They are on some roll. Joe Gardy has them in line.
He's got them working through the best and worst of times. They've had a lot of controversy and got their nose to the grind, and it's a fun team to watch.
Tim Lynch and Rory Moss both doing a great job at quarterback. They're playing at Catholic University tomorrow. Other big game tomorrow, Ramapo and Glassboro State, the number 2 and number 5 team in our Sports Channel poll. 2nd and 8 for the Mariners. 2:44 to go. They lead by 2. Libby again. Trying for extra yardage. Look at him. He wouldn't go down. Good effort by Libby as he's down at the 29.
Super effort.
And there is a guy who's got to be tired. How many O'Grady's they got?
They got to have 4 or 5 O'Grady's. There can't be one guy.
Any brothers out there?
Well,
now they'll let the clock tick.
O'Grady will get a good night's rest tonight.
They have 1 timeout left. And now what's going to happen? It looks like the Mariners will call a timeout here. That's a break for St. John's.
That's a weird.
They had 7 seconds left on the 25-second clock. They weren't ready for a play. And so St. John's has the stoppage of the clock.
That's the only problem that they've had all night long is trying to get plays on.
Right, Libby trying to get outside. Colangelo wraps him up. And St. John's will stop the clock here with 2:06 left. And they were going to get this football back. They'll be a long way from pay dirt.
That they will.
And will be out of timeouts. So it'll be up to Bannon to go sidelines, get the ball out of bounds, and hope that the Redmen can march downfield and try to pull this one out.
So St. John's was trying to work a read blitz. If one back stayed in, the linebacker was going to blitz. If he ran a pattern, then of course he had to pull off and try to follow along the pattern. So it was kind of what they call a read blitz. It wasn't an all-out blitz. They were trying to be careful, but it was kind of a judgment blitz.
Now the Mariners will get their kicking unit on. And Wright will try to get the ball out of bounds here once again. I'm sure that's too far for a field goal unless, yep, they're going to have the punting unit in. Don't risk the field goal attempt. Let's see if St. John's comes with a block here. They've got all 11 men, well, actually 10 up at the line of scrimmage. I think they're going to try to block it.
Well, they're probably going to try to do that, and they're probably also playing like a punt safe.
And Wright standing back at his own at the 40-yard line.
They come.
They're coming, but he'll angle it off to the near side. It'll bounce at around the 10, and will be blown dead there. So St. John's with 1:58 to go, no timeouts left.
Classic 2-minute drill.
Boy, do they wish they had Scott Cessny and Dennis McDermott.
Well, they probably wish they had Joe Montana and Jerry Rice and a couple other people. You know, while you're wishing, if you're going to wish, you might as well look for Dan Marino and this Roger Staubach. That's what they need.
Well, Scott Cessny did the job last year for these Redmen. Let's see if Sean Bannon can do it here. Be a hero. He's 14 for 32 for 130 yards. Ball at the 10-yard line. Up the middle, complete to Long. Short gain as he gets maybe 4 yards. They'll give him that all day.
Oh, yeah, they'll give him that.
Sasso and Holly on the tackle. Bannon quickly brings him to the line of scrimmage. A minute 40 to go. Bannon looking for the sideline. Iadivio's got it, runs out of bounds. Let's see where they mark his progress. Maybe close to the first down marker at the 20-yard line. I think he's a bit shy there. We'll wait for where they mark it. There you see on the sideline, Dennis Barrett. He's going to go right down to where that football is. Boy, Bob Ricca looks worn out. It's been a long night for his Redmen. Can his team pull it off? A minute 35 to go as they bring the chains in. We'll see if he picked up the first down.
No, he just missed.
Rob Castillo, number 13, was kicking a couple of balls into the net. They got a long way to go before they get to an opportunity for him to be carried off on shoulders of Redmen here tonight.
3rd and inches. I'm sure they won't risk a rushing play here to waste too much time. Iadivio to the right. There you see the time. Long to the left has double coverage. They will put it on the ground to try to get the first down. Of course, if they do make the first down, the clock will stop when they move the chains, but it's pretty close. I don't know if he made it.
Tell you what, that was not one of those, that's a definite first down type plays. That was very close.
Ed McAleen on the stop. He did not make it. It is 4th down with a minute 20 to go. This is the game right here. Bannon in trouble, and Bannon will be sacked, and that should be the game. Ed McAleen and Steve Brody.
I do not believe that.
And the Birch Marine fans in the crowd love it. Steve Brody and Ed McAleen, 3rd sack for McAleen. St. John's cannot stop the clock here. The only thing they can hope for is a fumble.
I do not believe that. I got to believe that this play was called as part of a double play. Run the quarterback sneak and then run this pass play. And Bannon didn't abort the play and run something that would have gotten 1 inch for a first down. The clock would have stopped with the first down. Oh my goodness, that's unfortunate.
Steve Brody tells the story. This will be one of the sweetest wins for Dennis Barrett we talked about last year when they gave up 65 points. The most in Kings Point history. There is a look at Dennis Barrett talking on the sideline with one of his Mariners, big number 72, John Morganti. Boy, Morganti's made some big defensive plays here.
Yeah, that he is.
Clock ticking, now stopped with a minute 9.
There's nothing like
Dennis Barrett trying to win his 4th game in 6 decisions against Bob Ricca. They won the first 3 years. St. John's won the last 2.
There's nothing like revenge in sports. It's an honorable revenge. I mean, you don't want to live your life like that in the regular public, but man, in sports, when you can come back.
Dead ball, offsides on the defense. Half the distance to the goal line, still first down.
When you can come back and beat a team that beat you pretty badly the year before, it's a honorable and an exciting thing to be a part of.
Let's see if they try to score here or just run the clock out. And dropping right down is Larry Redmen. Hey, let's give credit to Larry Redmen. Came in the ball game after Chris Clark threw the couple of interceptions, one for a touchdown. The senior settled him down, got a couple of big 3rd down plays, ran for one, threw that pass to Gill for another big 3rd down, and has really done a fine job here. Although his numbers won't be impressive, he did the job for Dennis Barrett.
He really did. He threw a couple of good passes. He ran for one big first down. He answered the call.
Yep.
It's a team sport, and, you know, sometimes you need another guy to step in.
Clock is ticking. 2nd and 4. And again, Redmen will down the ball. This should be it. And the Kings Point Mertz Marine Academy now with 3 straight wins. Next week, they'll be heading into their game taking on Western Connecticut. And we'll see them in a couple of weeks against Iona, another run-and-shoot team. So they're very much in the throes of this Liberty Conference race. They go to 2-1. Post now 3-0. St. John's 3-1 as this one is over. And Dennis Barrett gets congratulations over there from Steve Brody. Boy, what a job that the young player Brody did, who went to the same high school that Dennis Barrett coached for so many years, Monsignor Farrell High School in Staten Island. Well, let's see if the coaches shake hands. They just did. Missed that on the camera. Sorry, folks. I missed it. I was looking for the coaches, but you folks saw it at home. And there's Dennis Barrett. Still lives in Staten Island. And he is one happy young man. I think those are his daughters over there.
Well, I was about to say something. There's too many people walking up and congratulating Coach.
This is one he wanted.
That was just a super job.
We said it at the outset. Defense would be the story in this game, even though there were 110 points last year scored between these clubs. And the Mariners' defense, which had not come up big early, came up big tonight. Standing by on the field, Carl Reuter with Dennis.
All right, Barry, thanks very much. You just gave liberty to all the plebes that were here, huh?
Yeah, you can do that.
All right, let me ask you something. This one I know was eating at you for an entire year because you were pretty much embarrassed on your home field last year.
Yeah, that was a wild, bizarre game, and then it was homecoming, and, so our guys really wanted this. It really hurt to have West Stearns go out so early because we felt that we could run the ball on them, but a few times there, West would have been in the end zone, but we didn't have them. We won without them, and it was a tremendous, one of the greatest defensive efforts I've seen since I've been here.
Dennis, throw out some names because Morganti and McElleen, everybody tremendously down the end when they sacked Bannon to really ice the game.
Oh, they were all over the place. I mean, Harold Krebs made that great interception. Then they were setting them back there. All those guys on defense: Trey Rasmussen, Eddie McElleen, Richie Reynolds, 5'7", covering 6'2", wide out number 17, did a great job all night. I mean, all the way across the board. It was a tremendous, tremendous defensive effort.
Dennis, you made a move. You took Chris Clark out of the game. You put in Larry Redmen.
Yeah. Well, I just sometimes, quarterbacks, what's beautiful about this situation, they both love each other. They pull for each other. I don't know if you saw Chris go up to Larry, and, so I have said, if a guy starts to have trouble and, we have to make a change, we will. And although Larry, we just ran the ball after that, but sometimes just the change is, can pick you up. So, but they work for each other. It's no problem. Chris just had a rough night.
Are you concerned that you did not score points in the second half?
Yeah, I'm very concerned. I felt like probably the most critical play was down here before the half when we were up 10-0. I thought we could get it in. We were on the 5-yard line. We threw it up, and they made the big interception. And I thought we would have. That's what really bothered me. And then kind of took a little momentum away, and we sputtered a little bit. So, what are you going to do? All
right, we talked about Clark and Redmen. Now, you pulled Clark out. If you had to make a snap judgment decision, does Clark start in your next game, or is it Larry Redmen?
No, it's hard to say. I have to watch during the week, but right off the top of my head, Clark would start, and Larry would come in when I need him, and, and it's, you just can't do it on a one-game basis. He started the last 3 games, so, Can I say hello to somebody?
Go ahead.
Okay, I'd like to say hello to my friend Steve Gorn at the Hampton, and Joe Shasha, and Jack McGinley, and all those Hardy guys watching the game tonight.
What are you, Phil Rizzuto?
No, they're just a bunch of friends of mine. I really,
Well, I know one guy, one guy that's probably watching, a very good friend of yours, Bill Parcells.
Yeah, I spoke to him before the game, and he knew we were playing at 7:30, and if he got home, I'm sure he's watching us, and good luck, Bill, on Sunday.
All right, Dennis, congratulations on a great win.
Thanks a lot, Carl.
All right, Dennis Barrett, he's victorious here tonight by the score of 10-8 over St. John's. Let's stay with us. Barry and Beasley with a final word when we come back.
From UB's.
Well, two segments in this game you have to congratulate. That's the winning of the Battle of the Trenches by Kings Point, and also St. John's, their defense getting them back in it and shutting down the Kings Point in the second half, and a nice touchdown by Stearns.
Offense unable to do it. Sean Bannon a rough night. Anthony Russo held to 60 yards after a couple of brilliant games on the ground. Once again, the final